off and rolling. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. At least I think. Yeah, you can hear it?
Yes.
Right? I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh, that's because, my gosh, we haven't done a dang show in like an entire week, and we're acting like we don't know what we're doing here. This is just grade A stuff, dude. I mean, my goodness. And we hope everyone has had a great week. We are off and rolling. It's the Kinner and Kev Show here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We're live here at the Nutter Center.
What up, though?
We're live here at the Wright State has a big game tonight. They got Fort Wayne in town. The regular season's wrapping up. We haven't been on the air in like a week. The Reds had a spring training game on Monday and Tuesday, which, by the way, I love having Red spring training baseball back on the air. In fact, yesterday I was driving around in the new truck. The wife let me drive the truck. So I'm driving around in the new truck. I have the windows down. I got my country music blaring. It was just then I was like switching back and forth between that and the Reds. It felt like June. I had like July vibes. It was amazing. And then Wizard of Oz type stuff almost happens last night. I don't know how early you got up, but I got up pretty early.
What time you get up?
Well, for one, went to bed pretty early last night too, but like about 10 o'clock I went to bed. That's early for me. And then the tornado alarm went off, or sirens went off at what?
About
like 4:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing came close to us though, but I was actually out on the deck just watching it roll in. I'm one of those guys.
Really? Yeah, I was KO'd, and the alarm went off, and I thought it was my alarm to get up to take my lazy butt to the gym, and I turned it off. I was like, oh, it's only 4:30. I got a whole extra 30 minutes to sleep before I got to get up, and I went right back to sleep. And as the wife always does when those alarms go off, she said, I think we need to go to the bathroom. And I say,
oh, you guys don't have a basement?
No, we do not have a basement.
We've talked about that.
Yes.
You're talking about,
Yes.
looking at some new places of, to live and all that type of stuff. So,
and I was like, nah, we're good. If you want to go ahead. I'm going to stay right here in the bed.
No, see, but like my wife doesn't take those like tornado sirens seriously,
Me and her could get along.
And it drives me, not me, I freak out. Like I say, I'm out there watching the storms roll in, but like it's because I can't sleep. I'm like, I don't want to close my eyes and wake up to a tree coming at me, or at least waking up under a tree as far as that's concerned. But jokes aside, we do hope everyone who is in our listening range, actually, regardless of being in our listening range, we hope everyone is okay, because those storms lasted, pretty deep into the night and into the morning. And then now it's winter again. Now it's February. So there's that. But yeah.
Yeah, so when I was driving up here, I thought it was raining, and then when I got out the car, I realized, no, it's not rain. That's snow. Yeah. And it was like, 72 days ago?
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
When with the snow?
70, or 68, somewhere around there on Tuesday.
Hey, Adam, if you
on Monday.
Adam, stop hitting the button. If you're hitting the button, that's messing with the screen. I'm asking, just don't do that. Maybe it's not him doing it. Maybe I'm just a mean boss, but I'm just making sure that there we go. That's how it's supposed to be. Mark Smith, by the way, he messages into the show right off the bat. He's talking about Red spring training baseball. He's just talking about spring training baseball in general. Spring training baseball is like watching paint dry, he says.
You think? I don't think so. I think it's
you hate NFL preseason.
I hate NFL preseason, but I have watched a couple of spring training games, like kind of on in the background on MLB Network.
So I listen to baseball, especially spring training, because, again, the games don't matter, right?
Right.
NFL preseason doesn't matter.
Right.
But like I tell you, we go so long without football that I can't wait for preseason week. Wow, I'll watch the Hall of Fame game just because the hearing the crack of the pads, just the sound of the broadcasters, everything. Love it. And, but after that preseason game, I'm ready for it. So right now I'm over spring training. Now I'm ready for the regular season to get here. But when you haven't heard Tommy throw on the radio for quite some time, you haven't heard, baseball on the radio for quite some time, you kind of miss it a bit. But we got plenty of baseball to get into coming up around the corner. Ben Verlander, MLB Fox Sports analyst. He's going to jump on with us. He is super jacked about the Reds. In fact, he's very much in love with their pitching staff. He knows a thing or two about pitching. His brother, Justin Verlander, of course. So Ben Verlander will join us coming up later on in the show, but we got a college basketball heavy show for you as well. Wright State in action later on tonight, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Chris Collins and I will be on the call. 6:45 coverage begins, but Wright State coming off a big win this past weekend, knocking off first place Oakland. And you could win a game, but then you could make a statement, and that's what they did. They made a statement. They went up and put 96 up on the road against the top team in the conference, and it definitely got everyone's attention. But they've been playing that great offense all season, but now they're starting to play that thing that Coach Nagy's talked about a time or two, that defense, right?
Yeah.
So, we'll talk about that coming up around the corner. Tanner Holden's going to pop in with us here around the corner. I'm excited to talk with Tanner.
Absolutely.
I've kind of left him alone I have so many questions I want to ask him. I want to ask him about so much stuff. I've just left him alone, but I'm excited when he gets here. And then one of my favorite guys, Travis Trice.
Yes.
Has had so much success at the high school level in boys and girls basketball. We could talk about the high school scene with him. Also an assistant coach with Coach Nagy here at Wright State. And, it's been cool watching his responsibilities behind the scenes as well, following him, traveling with the team this season. But I'm jacked to talk with Travis Trice coming up. He knows a thing or two about basketball as well.
Absolutely. But you have kind of, the inside track to a lot of this stuff. Obviously, you're calling the games for the Raiders this season. Talk about this offense, man, because, us novice sitting at home just see the ball go through the hoop. But, talk about, how are they making this look so easy on offense?
Well, I think Coach Nagy told Chris Collins the other night on the coaches show, because you guys would be kind of shocked to know we don't even really work on our offense now. It's not, everything.
I love Coach.
So, it's one of two things. And I was joking with them the other day. I was like, well, not Coach, but I was joking with Chris the other day. I'm like, so with the defense, hasn't been great all year, right? I'm like, but you spend all your time on defense, but it's starting to get better now, right? That's the thing. So they don't even have to be great defensively. Coach Nagy will disagree with it. They don't, but that's the thing. That's how many points they put up. They're 5th in the country in scoring.
Right.
They put up 85, 86, whatever. I mean, that average had to go up. They're averaging 88 in conference play. They don't even have to be elite defensively. They just have to be situationally good, and they've been better than situationally good over the last 4 games, a 4-game stretch holding opponents under 80. That's a big deal because they were giving up 80+ a game. So that's key right now. But they're honestly, I think they're the hottest team heading into this conference tournament. But don't want to get ahead of yourself because they got 2 games to close out the regular season. Luckily, both of those are here at home. So, which, by the way, before we get into our top of the hour headlines, before Tanner Holden jumps on with us, we want to let you know if you want tickets to tonight's game or Saturday's finale against Northern Kentucky, text Raiders to 518-1410. Text Raiders to 518-1410. First come, first serve. And we have an allotment of tickets that we will get out to as many of you as possible, but make sure you take advantage of that. I know, pretty much, especially as the season's gone on, the demand for those has gotten higher and higher. So we want to make sure we get those tickets into the hands as many of you who want to go as possible. But Adam, go ahead and hit the music in the background back in the WING studios. Of course, it's time for our top of the hour headlines. We open up the show and get all these topics that we throw out to you.
It's a lot.
It's a lot because we haven't been on the air since last Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursday. Make sure he. Good for you, Adam. Good for you. You just pot it down just a tad so we could talk over, but we're good. Top of the hour headlines, all the stories that we're not going to dedicate an entire segment to, but when you combine them all together, it's kind of a way for us to catch up so that we can pretend to know what the heck we're talking about when it's all said and done. So these are the stories that kind of caught my attention right off the bat. How about this? The Franklin Wildcats, okay? Franklin, 2015 Franklin high graduate, obviously Luke Kennard, I think you've heard of him. But the Franklin Board of Education on Monday approved the naming of the new high school basketball court as Luke Kennard Court. Wow. Superintendent Michael Sanders said in a dedication ceremony for the new basketball court, which will be, they'll have a ceremony, for it later on the date to be announced later. But this was an article from Dayton Daily News, caught my attention. Usually do that for players for ages and ages ago, but that's how special of a player Luke Kennard is, who's still doing his thing in the NBA with Memphis right now. But yeah, they're naming Luke Kennard Court, the Franklin Wildcats, naming the court after him. Yep.
Awesome accomplishment for him. Obviously, he is a McDonald's All-American, played 2 seasons with Coach K at Duke. Obviously, he got drafted in the first round, playing in the NBA right now. Maybe someday he'll come and join us for an interview. Maybe someday.
We got him on 1 year when he was with the Pistons.
Okay.
We had him on 1 year around the Pistons. And then when did he get the Clippers? Clippers made it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But nonetheless. All right, next up. How about this? Rather than deny when cheating happens, okay, and Ohio State didn't cheat by any means, okay, but they maybe they violated some rules, right? But they didn't deny it, and they didn't do this whole, it's Ohio against the world, everyone's out to get us. Ohio State, they did what responsible programs do, right? This is what you do when you hit your sibling, you go and you tell your parents, yeah, I hit him, my bad.
So, popped him good.
Yep, according to On3 Sports, Ohio State has self-reported 4 minor recruiting violations that occurred over the last few months to the NCAA. One of those included Brian Hartline, Ohio State, wide receiver / at the time OC. Again, it was a social media one too. It doesn't even make any sense. I mean, these are when you hear the details of them, very minor violations. But Michigan fans have had a lot of fun with this. I've seen on social media, but keep in mind, like I feel like every year at this time, Ohio State's constantly self-reporting a lot of these, which is smart. It's good PR. It makes the NCAA think that you're like, oh man, look at them being very honest and upfront. Like, I mean, we're not going to tell you about all the bad stuff we did. We're just going to tell you about stuff. But yeah, Ohio State self-reported 4 minor recruiting violations that occurred to the NCAA.
Nothing burger. This happens literally.
Not cheeseburger. If there's a cheese on it, it'd be a problem, right, Michigan fans? Yeah.
Nothing burger. This happens with Ohio State, Alabama. Name your big-time program or small-time program every single year. Minor recruiting violation is going to basically evolve in less than a slap on the wrist. Like, hey, don't do that. And then make you watch like a 20-minute video, and that's your punishment. But, I mean, in all seriousness, like, I'll be 100% honest. If your team, your favorite team, isn't getting these type of recruiting violations, you have absolutely no chance of winning the national championship. You have no chance, because if you're not bending the rules, stretching the rules, trying to get away with certain things, then you're not going to land the top players because of all the other things that other teams are doing to land the top players. You know, before NIL and inducements to come play at certain schools, you know, you all heard about the days of the duffel bags of money being left for players and stuff like that. I mean, shoot, Darnell Washington plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He got left allegedly $100,000 in a book bag and told, yeah, Tennessee, I'm coming there. Took the $100,000, went home to Las Vegas, and then committed to Georgia. And there was nothing Tennessee could do about it because it was illegal. So what were they going to do? Tell to get themselves in trouble. So, you know, that type of thing has been going on a long time. So if your program isn't bending the rules, I didn't say breaking the rules, but bending the rules to get in with the recruits, you're not going to win national championships. You're not going to compete for national championships because this is how you get the best players.
Michigan taught us all. Don't bend, break.
Snap them.
Break. Why not?
Snap them like bones.
And then when you get in trouble for it, gaslight the hell out of everybody around you. That's what you do. Yeah, like, it's like, you're bullying me. I don't have to take this, right? But nonetheless. All right, top of the hour headlines. Next up, let's continue to go down the list here. Let's see. This one caught my attention. The first NIL private jet deal is officially here. All right. Heisman candidate Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart has signed a deal with Nichols Air. This endorsement provides Dart hours to Nichols Air's fleet of jets for travel, training, and philanthropy. Again, now this is interesting. So the details aren't really known, but 15 to 20 private jet hours might be valued at close to $200,000. So the reason that's important, Darren Ravel tweeted out that having to pay taxes on that after getting it for free might be a little bit of a wake-up call. So hopefully he's paying attention to that.
Right.
But yeah, when free private jet hours, like this is great until tax time. Speaking of tax time, Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle, Michael Maxwell. I know Kev's a nerd and went and got his stuff done already. I still have to do mine, but
To Jackson Dart situation, this is awesome. Like, it looks awesome. I mean, I saw the graphic. He's standing by a private jet with a football and everything like that. But I also saw the Darren Ravel tweet as well. And that's something, obviously, us working in radio, we know about. You know, we have to send out tax forms to, you know, our prize winners.
It's the same, but it's
the
same.
For that, yes. Yeah, it's like, hey, yeah, you want a trip to blah, 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 blah. The trip is over $5,000. You got to pay taxes on that. Don't forget about it. And then we send these tax forms to our winners, and then they call us upset and like, we told you that you were going to have to do this, and you filled out this nice little form called a W-9. Don't be mad at us. Be mad at the government.
Or how about when radio tells you, hey, you know, you're not going to get paid for this endorsement, but you're going to get the services for it. And then you find out at the end of the year, if you've been taking advantage of the free services this entire time, and you feel like, you know, working in radio, they ain't going to pay you in money, but they'll pay you in services that you still have to pay taxes upon at the end. Then you find out the hard way. That's why our guy, Michael Maxwell, Arrowhead Tax Service, give him a shout out, by the way. Anyways, yeah, I still got to get my taxes done. I still have a month and a half. I'm good. Last but not least, we'll get to more of these coming up in a moment, but Andrew Berry said that the Browns submitted a proposal to extend the trade deadline by 2 weeks.
Wow.
He said that him and other GMs and owners around the league had talked at many occasions, talking about the fact that, hey, they added an extra regular season game, but they didn't push the trade deadline back. I have a different view of this. For one, I've always advocated that they need to push the trade deadline back. I think it's ridiculous to have it so early in the season, which I guess is around the halfway point, right? It's like around week 8.
I'm looking at it right now.
I believe it's around week 8 that the NFL trade deadline is. But for me, what I would rather have for his purposes, yes, I get it. They added an extra game, so you need to kind of push that trade deadline back a little bit. But I have always said, there's so many teams that really don't know who they are at the halfway point of the season. So some teams are like, we don't want to give up any assets or give up on certain talent if we think we're in the hunt, or if we're record-wise in the hunt, but we don't know if we're good enough to sustain this run. We don't know if we want to give up any assets like that. I think you push that trade deadline back, and then you allow teams to get settled in and know for sure who they are. Plus, key injuries happen late in the season. Wouldn't it be nice if teams who unfortunately have season-ending injuries to their star quarterbacks, if the trade deadline's at week 13 or 14, then you make a big splash, and then it's a sprint to the finish line? I've always said Major League Baseball needs to push their trade deadline back. The NFL needs to do it, especially because they added the extra game. I think the NBA's isn't bad. They just had the trade deadline, and there's less of the season after the trade deadline than before. I would love to see the trade deadline pushed back for the NFL.
So to answer your question, trade deadline this past one was on Halloween, October 31st. So that's right after week 8 wrapped up on that Monday. So going into week 9 is the end of the trade deadline. So they're asking to push it back 2 weeks, you said?
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Now they'll probably compromise and maybe do it by 1 week, and I don't think that's that big of a difference. But
push it to November.
Yeah,
that's not bad. I never thought about that. That's a good point by Andrew Berry. Like, yeah, you added a game, but now we are at a disadvantage, especially from injuries or wherever have you. And I mean, shoot, especially like at that point of the season, like if a team decides like, all right, man, things aren't working out the way we thought, they're gonna quote unquote tank. You could just sell off assets. I mean, shoot, I remember going into last season, you and I were just, speculating, throwing around ideas about what could potentially happen around the trade deadline before the season even started. And we all came up with the same conclusion about the Rams, about, Aaron Donald. Like, hey, man, if the Rams aren't any good, I mean, you got a Hall of Fame player on your defensive line who's probably going to be searching for another one of these, another ring on his finger. So, like, he may be a potential trade candidate if the Rams aren't playing up to snuff. That all ended up being moot because the Rams were good last season. So, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense for them to come on there and be a part of the show and be a part of everything going on with the NFL trade deadline.
All right, it's the Kinner and Kev Show here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We're live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, live 1410wingam.com, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. There's plenty of areas where, of course, you could tune in and hang out with us here live on the Kinner and Kev Show. We'll step away for a few moments. We're doing the show out on location today. We're at Wright State University's Nutter Center, Wright State, and, of course, Fort Wayne. 7 o'clock to tip off, 6:45 pregame coverage begins coming up later on this evening. Chris Collins and I will be on the call, but pretty excited to be setting up shop here in the suite here, looking down at the Nutter Center floor ahead of the big game tonight. But I'm excited to bring on our next guest on the other side of the break, Tanner Holden. He's going to join us, Wright State's own Tanner Holden, of course. We'll chat with him. We'll also have Travis Trice later on in the show as well. We still got plenty more to get into. Don't go anywhere. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast is calling for clear skies and 23 tonight. Sunshine 44 tomorrow. Partly sunny, chance of rain on Friday and 51. I'm Rick Schremp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% on your choice of any 3 or more A.O. Smith water heaters. And there's more. Save 15% when you buy any 4 or more Purdy products. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Have you heard? Bath Creations has moved to their new location and showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton. This gives you even more opportunity to see the incredible amenities and craftsmanship Bath Creation offers. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful, modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or online at mybathcreations.com and get a new bath today.
11% off everything is happening now at Menards. Mastercraft makes great doors inside and out. Choose from the best in-stock selection of doors, ready to take home today, or design your door your way in-store or on Menards.com. Get a ready-to-paint 3-panel interior door system for just $129.99 after 11% off. Good to March 3rd savings or mail-in rebate in the form of an in-store merchandise credit check. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
The NCAA First Four returns to the epicenter of college basketball. Dayton and the Big Hoopla support our military community and aim to give back. Starting Selection Sunday, March 17th, enjoy a full day of family fun at the Big Hoopla 4-miler race and the free STEM Challenge championed by Wright State University. Then tip off the madness with the First Four at UD Arena March 19th and 20th. Visit DaytonHoopla.com for more info. The First Four, Dayton, and the Big Hoopla, the road starts here.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Did you know that if your tires are under or overinflated, your gas mileage and tire life can be grossly affected? That can cost you money. Don't waste your money. Make sure your air pressure is correct. Contact us at Carroll Works Tire or visit us online today. Did you know that Carroll Works services fleet vehicles? We specialize in mixed fleets. If you have a fleet of vehicles or equipment, we tailor service programs to meet your specific needs and keep your business moving. Give us a call or visit us online today.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti, and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal pitcher of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app. We are back. It's the Kinner Kev Show live here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number. You could text into the show if you want tickets to tonight's Wright State and Fort Wayne game, 7 o'clock, the tip-off, 6:45. You could catch the pregame right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, of course. And then the big one, the finale against the rival Northern Kentucky, the Norse, coming in on Saturday night. We have tickets for that one as well. Text Raiders to 518-1410. We'll get you hooked up on there as well as far as that's concerned. But it went by fast for us from a fan and media perspective, but then I'm sure you came back and you felt like you had plenty of time, and all of a sudden it's down to final 2 games for you. Has it kicked in yet that we only have like 2 games left, at least as far as the regular season goes?
Yeah, I'm trying not to believe it. Being a senior and being an athlete, I think, coming into it your freshman year, you think that you have all this time in the world. Yeah. And then as it, dwindles down, you really start to get a grasp of like, oh my God, like it's about over. And actually, being that in a couple of days is senior night, like it's for real. Like there's no turning the clock back, but it's bittersweet. All the experiences I've had here have been good. But, it's sad to soon say goodbye. But, I think there's a lot more winning to do.
When you came back, this is what you expected? Like the season, I guess let me go back to when you decided you were coming back. Like, how did you envision the season going? Because, you still had Trey here. Yeah. It was part of the original, big 3 when you were here the last time. From when you announced you were coming back and you envisioned yourself coming back, obviously there was an adjustment period and it took a little longer than I'm sure you had anticipated. But is this the way you guys are rolling right now? Is this about what you were expecting when you announced you were coming back?
Yeah. I think, we had high expectations for us. And I think, sometimes that could hurt us because whenever we don't meet those expectations, we feel as if we're failing. But I think, it was an adjustment period, for me, going to the NCAA. But just getting acclimated to the guys and back to the university and the coaching staff. But I think, overall, like just our bond off the court was huge. But I think overall, I think we're starting to really catch our stride. And I think, that's how we're playing right now.
Yeah, again, offense hasn't been the problem. Him and I were talking about that a little bit ago.
Never.
And he's like, so, been calling the games this year. Like, what is it about this offense? And I'm like, sometimes you have these high-powered offense teams and coaches write books on it, right? Like, hey, it's the Nagy offense, right? But he said the other night, hey, might shock some people. You guys don't really spend a lot of time on your offense or whatever. And like when he says that, like what does he mean by like you're not running offensive drills? You're not
as crazy as it sounds, like before practice we'll come in here, get our shots up. Guys will do their own work at night. But in practice it's mostly defense. We'll probably maybe roughly, if we're lucky, 10 minutes of offense, if that. And that's like
imagine if you guys did 12.
Exactly. That's like, and that's anywhere from like 7 to 8 possessions because we're gonna run a play here and then we're gonna go back and guard their play. So yeah, and that's just how it's always been. But I think the coaching staff does a great job of putting us in good situations. And I think in the summer they teach us the system and teach us how to score, where to score, and the most effective way to score. So I think that helps us a lot. And I think just our field goal percentage this year is a testament to that. But, I think it's huge for our coaching staff and for the players coming in, the freedom that he gives you. And I know a lot of coaches don't do that. Like you said, a lot of coaches are pretty pen to paper and they're going to write a play and you're going to do this and they're going to put you where they want you. And not give you that freedom to be a player.
Rewinding back to the first 4 game at UD Arena. We don't even need to get into where you played, but, Wright State played on UD's court. didn't play against the team, but
Oh, come on, Kev. Now, come on now.
That's normally your role.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've made it this far to the show without one of them. But
what
yeah.
do you remember most about that game? I was at the game. I saw you put up the 37. I mean, I saw you going at it with old buddy Peter Kiss. He was doing a lot of talking, but ultimately we got the dub, and you put on the show.
Yeah, the biggest thing I remember is just like fulfilling a lifelong dream to play in the NCAA tournament. And I think at first we were pretty mad to play in the first four because you're not officially in the tournament yet. You still have to win a game to get to the first round. So for us that was kind of hard because we know we had to come out there and execute and win to get to the tournament. So I think for us, like we really just went in there and took care of our business. And for me, I really just wanted to play well. And it was my night that night, and I think I contributed in the best way I could. But Trey played amazing. He was sick all day, throwing up before the game and puts up 20. Grant played great. So I think we all contributed really well. So I think that helped all of us just because it gave us a confidence boost to where we could play on that level. National television in the tournament. So
yeah. And then fast forward to this year, like you get to play a little bit of point this year and everything like that. They putting the ball in your hands to let you make decisions. And past, like, hey man, you were getting it at the mid post, you were cutting, you were dunking on folks. But now talk about being able to be that decision maker.
Yeah, that was kind of my role in high school. I was the point guard in high school. So all credit to my dad. He worked on me and my sister to where we can do everything. Whenever he played at Marshall, he was a post player and that's all he could do. So he wanted me and my sister to be very versatile, to be able to do different things on the courts where we're not one-dimensional like he was. So I think that was a huge testament to him, and that's I thank him for everything, for all the work that he's helped us with. And I think the coaches really just put the confidence in me to make plays, not just for myself but for other people.
Dope.
You said something that caught my attention a little bit ago because it is almost Selection Sunday, not too far off in the distance, and I get in the same argument every year with people about the first four. The first four, it's not the NCAA tournament. I'm like hell it is because you won your conference championship to get there, Tanner. That was the NCAA tournament, right? But no, it's interesting. So you said you guys weren't bummed, just the NCAA tournament, right? But so you did not feel slighted, but so just go back to that real quick because that's like from a business perspective, from a media perspective, I'm like, it's a chance to. I mean, if you're 16. You kind of know the outcome of the 16 versus 1s. At least you have a chance to win the tournament.
I think the biggest thing is just like our competitiveness.
Yeah.
Like we want to be in the tournament. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like we want to be there. Like we know we're there. You guys know we're here. But I think that was probably the perfect storm for not just our program, but this entire university to play right down the road in the NCAA tournament and perform the way that we did as a collective group on a national stage.
This season, it's not similar to that tournament season that you guys went on, but kind of. You guys struggled to start that season. There were so many outside variables that played a role in that slow start, of course, and that's not what's happened this year, but a slow start nonetheless, and you guys start going late, very similar to that year. Are there some parallels to that? Again, Coach Nagy-led teams are kind of known for that, getting better as the season goes on, but you touched on it a little bit ago. You seem to be hitting that stride heading into the biggest time of the season, but it's wild because I'm falling into the trap of looking ahead to next week, and if I'm doing that as a fan and as a media guy, I'm sure the coaches are on you guys to keep your head up for tonight and Saturday. No doubt.
For sure. I think, Coach has done a great job of just keeping our minds right. We can't look ahead. We can't look at the standings to see what everybody else is doing, what the possibilities could be for the tournament. So I think we're just taking it one day at a time. Every practice, we're working hard. And we control our own destiny at this point. We still have a good shot to win the league. But we can't focus on, everyone else. We have to control our business, take care of ourselves. But I think Coach does a great job of just testing us as men, not just as basketball players. Whenever things are going well, that's whenever, the complacency steps in, and we just got to keep working. So I think that's really the biggest thing is just not to be satisfied. And I think a lot of, there's enough guys on this team who are part of the national or the NCAA tournament to know there's still more work to be done. And we have a chance to do it. And I think, just believing that's the biggest step.
Go ahead.
Oh, last thing on this too, just because I was thinking of that, the last time you were here in the tournament, you go to Ohio State, obviously didn't work out there, and you have to make a decision of where you want to go next. You could have picked a lot of different schools. And we've talked about this before. I can't think of another example where a star player at a mid-major school leaves to go to a high-major program and then enters the portal again and then goes back to that original school. I'm not saying it's never happened, but I thought your situation was so unique and so special because of that. And we've talked about that with the coaches about, making sure that foundation is there to make you feel like you were in a space to come back, and there was no animosity or anything like that. Obviously, you had that trust with the coaching staff. Was that a weird thing? Like, who picked up that phone? Did you call coach?
Yeah.
Did coach call you?
Yes.
Walk us through that decision.
Yeah, so the whole portal thing, the second time, I decided to be a no contact, so no coach could really talk to me from outside. So my first call was to Sergeant and to Coach Nagy, just to talk to them about my next step and if I was able. And then after I got off the phone with them, I called Trey. Not because of this is his team, obviously. But that's the guy I came in with, and that's the guy I've been working with for years and years. So it's definitely a different situation, just going through the whole portal situation again. And also with the NCAA fight we were in for eligibility. So that was always a rough time. But I think it just it all dials back to being home. Like, this is where so many things have been built for me and for this program. And I'm loved here, not for the player, but as a person. And the coaching staff has done a great job just doing that.
You picked up the phone to call Trey, and Trey, last year, obviously, had you and Grant and were with him the year before, and then he's having to come into a whole situation. No animosity there, right? You picked up the phone, you talked to him. I'm sure he welcomed you back with open arms. What was that call like when you gave him that call?
Yeah, it was tough. I talked to him a couple of times, just throughout the season, but you're busy and all that stuff. I didn't want to get away of their mission as I was on my own. But yeah, it was just a heart to heart, really just talking to him, just asking him like, hey, like, if you're okay with it, if you're not, like, I completely understand. Like, this is your team. This is your last go around. Like, I want you to leave this university as a leader, as a star. And I don't want to take anything away from you. And I don't want it to make it seem like Tanner's coming back, everything's all fixed. And that was probably like the biggest no-no for me whenever I came back is, seeing all the articles, seeing everything. Like,
I felt trapped to it too. I was like, I think, we're back, baby.
And I think, for me, just as a person, like, that's hard just because it takes away from all the work that these guys did last year. It didn't go perfect, no. But the situation I was in, it wasn't perfect at all. Just the season, how it went. So I think, it's just a testament to the coaching staff, to the players that we have here, and just the bond that we've created.
Last thing on this, because he's itching to get to football with you, and I could just see him. How has that evolved as the season's gone on? Trey's team to start. Still, you don't have to say whose team it is, but I'm sure you guys have had to iron out just the chemistry out on the floor, because I'm sure it's not the same as what it was the last time. I mean, one thing I've noticed about you too is as the season has gone on, and maybe I'm off here, but like if a player turns it over, makes a mistake, I'm noticing a lot more from you. You're kind of pulling Brandon over. Brandon's not turning it over. I'm not throwing anyone either. But if Brandon or whoever, like, you're kind of pulling them off to the side and kind of just, that's not saying you weren't doing that at the beginning. Maybe I'm just picking up on it now, but I do get that sense from you. And maybe it's just because you see, hey, that, the tunnel, you see light at the end of that tunnel. Do you sense that urgency too?
Yeah, for sure. I think, just being the end of the season, you need guys to play confident. So, I don't think anybody in any game or any sport wants to mess up. And, just me as a person, like, I always remember just, some coaches, if you turn it over, they're going to yell at you. And it's like, all right, I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to do that again. And I'm going to play kind of timid. But, for me, I think, some turnovers are just aggression, going to the rim and being aggressive and being confident. So, we'll take that over a scared turnover. But, I think it's just really just enjoying the process, enjoying everything that goes on, good, bad, and different. This is my last go around, so might as well make it as enjoyable as possible.
Football.
Yeah, football. You're good.
Football. Finalist for Mr. Football when you're coming out of high school, man.
Yeah.
You chose hoops over the gridiron. What were some of the schools that were recruiting you to play football?
Yeah, I had a lot.
I know, I read.
Yeah, so
there's one particular school that
I went on a visit to Ohio State. I was supposed to go on a visit to Michigan as well, but our basketball schedule got in the way in football. Yeah, there were a lot of Big Ten schools, a lot of MAC schools, and some SEC schools, Kentucky, but I couldn't take away from the love that I had for basketball and just all the sacrifices that my family had to make for me to play basketball. AAU, all the years, all the travel, like all the expenses. That was something I couldn't turn away. And I, looking at it, like, yeah, football would have been cool to play, but there are a lot of 5-star guys who don't pan out, who don't get to play at these high major schools. And me, no stars, small Southern Ohio guy, like, who knows how that'll work out. But I really just looked at it like, if things don't go right in football, will I still love it?
Mm-hmm.
Or will I just, and the reason I really played football in high school is because I loved like the guys who I was around.
Mm-hmm.
I loved my teammates. I loved just kind of hanging out with them, competing, on a high school level. Basketball, like I loved everything about it. Like I loved the good, the bad. Like I loved figuring things out in basketball. Football is kind of just something I just happened to be good at.
Yeah.
So I think that was really the biggest kind of like thing that kind of took me away from football.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, man. You do what you love instead of
For
doing
sure.
what you have to do, man. I respect it.
Now, and obviously you're going to be an alum. You have 2 Wright State alums here. You go ahead and ask the question. You wanted to ask the question.
I'm going to ask off the air.
That's fair.
I'll ask
Okay.
about Cimarron off the air.
Okay, fine.
And I'll ask if that's still the kick is spot. You can give me the wink and nod if that's still the kick. I graduated quite some time ago, but back in my day.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. Tanner, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Like I said, doing double duty this week, but you got the media thing down pat, so that's pretty good. But now you got a game to prepare for. Fort Wayne coming up later on tonight. You guys put 100 up on them last time, but they almost put 100 on you guys as well. So just thoughts on this game tonight before you head out.
Yeah, it'll be a big game. I think every game from now on is big. Coach has been harping on that for a long time. They're a good team. Whenever we went to their place, they were undefeated. They were on top of the league. So I think the intensity and the effort that we went in there with, we have to bring here. Just carry some momentum, into Saturday and then into the tournament. Then, we need to start building that up. But I think, the biggest thing is just having confidence and really just taking the fight to them and playing our game at the end of the day.
All right, well, good stuff. Again, 7 o'clock to tip off. Wright State, Fort Wayne, 6:45 pregame coverage weekends right here on Dayton's Radio Home of Wright State basketball. 1410 Wing AM and 101.5 Hank FM. So Tanner's going to pop out. We're going to talk a little court storm. And by the court storm, as a player's perspective, you thumbs up, thumbs down on court storming. Jay Billis wants guys like arrested and stuff.
I think it's cool, but can't be having people hurt.
Right? Like that's the thing. Like
I think we need to lower the age of our security guards. You can't have 65, 70-year-olds.
Where's my
trying to
bail?
Thank you.
Yeah. I've seen some security guards. They ain't stopping nobody.
But that was our joke too.
Show when they were walking
they ain't stopping nobody.
What is going on here? We could just go and grab them if we felt like it.
But
There's way more of us than it is you.
But the yellow rope, you just pull the rope, right? Like students will listen to the rope. Tanner, appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right, good stuff. It's the Kinner Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We will be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? SafeStep walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-731-4558 and save $1,600. SafeStep walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. SafeStep walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-731-4558 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-731-4558 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. SafeStep walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal pitcher of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in 1 wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Progressive presents Precious Moments.
Nothing beats driving cross-country in our RV.
This is so much fun, Dad. I don't even need to look at my phone.
It's not the destination, it's the journey. Jinx!
The exchange you just heard didn't actually happen, but it could. Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive, and you could use the savings to make sure that RV is always ready to hit the road. Who knows, your teenager might actually put down her phone for 5 minutes. It could happen. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
All right, and we are back. It's the Kinner Kev Show here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM here on a Wednesday. We're live at Wright State University's Nutter Center, of course. We thought we'd mix it up a little bit, especially with only a couple games remaining. And one of the reasons, too, one of the guys that just joined us in Tanner Holden, again, Wright State's the only team in the country that has 2 2,000-point career scores. And, I thought it was cool of him kind of opening up, sharing a bit. It's one thing to leave to go to Ohio State. I was one of those people where, I grew up as an Ohio State basketball fan. I was a big fan of as I was growing up, I was playing, my teams were going up against Aaron Kraft and John Diebler and William Buford. So I fell in love with the Ohio State basketball program during that stretch because there was nothing cooler than when you're in high school and you're watching these dudes or going up against these dudes, and you follow them in college, and then they're all together playing, and then they're all Ohio guys too on top of that. So that's when I started really following for, Ohio State basketball, especially during that Thad Matta run. So when Tanner left, I was like, oh, come on, Tanner. But then, remember, because he entered the portal and I was not too happy. Then I was like, but at least if he's not going to be in the green and gold, at least he's going to be, at Ohio State. So that was a pretty cool thing, but I am glad that he ended up coming back because it just felt like, it was cool you went to the tournament and all that, but if you have time left out on that court, but I can't think of another time where a player of his caliber came back to the school that he originally departed from to begin with. Because I defended him. I was like, the kid, he delivered a tournament way to the school. It's not, so I don't know. Nonetheless, I'm glad he's back. But yeah, him and Trey together, they are starting to click right now at the right time. You could definitely see it, but we'll see what happens tonight.
Absolutely. You see it on the court, and you could just hear from him talking about the relationship between him and Trey. He reached out to him to make sure, it's cool with him that he came back, and, he's making it work. Sometimes this year he's come off the bench, he's been available to be coached. He's switched roles, from, the slasher role to running some of the point guard responsibilities and stuff like that. So very coachable player. And I mean, we were still on the air when he decided to, transfer and go to Ohio State. And I was much like you. I was like, oh man, I wish he would have stayed at Wright State. Man, what could have been, yada, yada, yada. But ultimately he's back now and they still have a chance to make some waves and push their ticket.
Yep. And they can get to the NCAA tournament while Ohio State won't. So there you go. Or maybe they will. I don't know.
Hey, you never know, man. They could win the Big Ten tournament. It's wide open.
We have
as long as they don't play Michigan.
We have Joe Lenardi coming on next week. So we'll chat with him next week. And again, Clark Kellogg yesterday, we were lining him up for next week. And true story, I thought this was really cool. Because he's following. Clark pays attention to everything.
Yeah.
He spoke at one of the banquets over here for Wright State basketball a while back and said, obviously, UD going to be in. He's kind of keeping track on some of the bubble opportunities for Ohio State. It's slim, but I mean they have 2 quad 1 wins since Diebler took over, so who knows what happens there. But then he goes, he wants to see, because Clark was going to come on next week, but he wanted to make sure to see what Wright State does in this conference tournament because he wants to talk about them too. He's a big fan of Coach Scott Nagy too. So we're going to be joined by Clark not next Friday, but the Friday after. But I thought that was neat that he's the one that suggested, how about we move stuff around to make sure that he gets to highlight all the teams. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Mr. Kellogg is A1.
Oh, yeah.
He follows all the basketball all across the country. And I really respect that because there's a lot of people out there that, just read the stats or just check in during, basketball, college basketball time. I mean, obviously no disrespect to Kenny Smith and Charles Barkley, but those are NBA guys, but they're up on the desk during March Madness. And I know who's really watching college basketball on a late Tuesday night, late Thursday night. Clark Kellogg is. Respect.
No doubt. Another one too. Seth Greenberg's like that as well.
Yes.
Anytime I've talked, Seth would come on a lot during the TBT because he did like the studio shows for the TBT, and he'd come on during that stretch too. And he would always, I'd throw out a Wright State question, and he'd spit that stuff out right away. So he's well-versed. A lot of really good college basketball analysts out there, but Clark is right there up at the top. But one college basketball analyst right now that is really kind of getting kind of beat up on, I'm going to be consistent here. I've told you this for a long time. I use baseball as an example, okay? I remember when they talked about putting the nets up and down the first and third base line at Major League baseball games in general. People lost their minds. When it was first initiated to put the nets up at the Dragon Stadium, people were angry around here. I remember Schlemmer and I, when we were doing the show together, people would call in and they were furious. I don't want to go to a game and have a net in front of me. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, have you ever thought about the fact that the most expensive ticket in a ballpark happens to be behind the dang net, behind home plate? Like, what are you talking about? But they put it in the minor league level and as a test run. And I'm like, test run for what? To see how many people don't die at a baseball game because they're not getting drilled in the head with a 1,000-mile-per-hour foul ball. And then there was unfortunately some fatalities. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, fine, we'll put some nets up. It's like, why did there have to be fatalities that you knew were coming? And it's not that you didn't need to wait to see if it was going to come. You wanted to wait for it to happen to make that move. You're not being very preemptive as far as that's concerned. And that's what college basketball is failing to do here. I don't think it's that big a deal about the court storming. However, what you can't do is allow court storming all the time, and 9 times no one gets hurt, and we cheer it. We put it on Sports Center, and March Madness is coming up. There's going to be some conference tournament tickets punched, and I know some of those are neutral sites, but, I mean, I remember before the Horizon League got one, I mean, you would have them here at the Nutter Center. Fans storm the court, right? It can't be a highlight when it's good to sell, and then all of a sudden someone gets hurt, and now we want to be against it. We should be against it all the time or none of the time as far as I'm concerned. But here's the thing. It's going to take almost what happened here. It's going to take a big-time injury. It happened to Caitlin Clark a few weeks ago when we thought she almost got hurt when her and her coach blasted Ohio State and their whole setup for that or whatever. And then it happened with the Duke game last week. So the broadcaster, we're talking about Jay Billis. Jay Billis wants guys arrested. He wants, all of this stuff, right? It's pretty wild. My thing is this. I'm not losing sleep about the rules on court storming, but I do know it is going to take a star player getting severely hurt. It's going to take someone getting trampled. It's going to take an elderly fan that is going to be, run over. It's going to take something like that to happen before any change is made. I'm not going to come here with the hot take and say it needs to happen, but I just feel like basketball is going to do what every sport does. We're going to wait until someone gets severely hurt or injured before we make a change, and maybe that change came last week, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, court storming, rushing the field, these things only happen in college. There's been how many NBA Finals championships? You ever seen anybody storm the court from the the stands? No. Yeah, it's been a whole bunch of Super Bowls. Yeah, people rush the field. Yeah, it's the players on the winning team.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen at the professional level. We look at, like 2 years ago when Tennessee beat Alabama, it was a sight to see. They tore down the goalposts. It was all over, ESPN, wherever college place that you get all your information. It made regular news. It's going to happen eventually, but it's going to be a little bit while longer. One, because the schools want it. They want this to happen. It's a great visual. Not only do the schools want it, especially the winning schools, but the TV networks want it too. Like, this is great to show on TV. Now, obviously, there's consequences that come with it. Obviously, somebody getting hurt. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. But my thing about court storming, rushing the field, and I guess it's more court storming, it's when is it okay and when isn't it okay? Because the team that I follow, Syracuse, always got to remind people of that. Obviously, over the the last 10 years, they've been basically at best a bubble team. They're a bubble team again this year, for goodness sakes. But a couple of weeks ago, they beat North Carolina. North Carolina was top 10 at the time. So if you're looking at it from a person of my age that's seen Syracuse, go to multiple Final Fours, finally win the championship, in my head, I'm thinking, man, Syracuse, man, we're Syracuse. We don't storm the court. But if you think about it, like, hey, man, the people actually storming the court, the last time Syracuse was good, they were like 6 years old. And then you also throw in the fact that, like, it's beyond the fact that you win in the basketball game, that you're going out there to celebrate with your classmates and the basketball team. You just want to be on TV.
To be fair, walking the streets around Syracuse with Bayham Drive, it was more dangerous than storming the court.
Look at you. But, like, that's like a thing. They want to. People want their 5 minutes of fame and be on TV. And I mean, I get it, man. I stormed the court here at Wright State before.
What game? The Butler game, I'm assuming?
Yes, it was the Butler game. We stormed the court for the Butler game when I was here. Unfortunately, I was not in town when Wright State beat Michigan State all those years ago to storm the court, but I would have then. Because guess what? I was in college, and that's what college kids do.
So I think the other thing we need to decipher too, the rules for storming the court. Because I feel like we're getting a little too loosey-goosey with what is a storming the court moment. Who did Kentucky play last night? Texas A&M? It was an SEC. Obviously, I believe it was Texas A&M, and maybe I have it right here. So they win at the buzzer last night. Kentucky does, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right before they hit that game-winning shot, okay, right before that shot goes in last night, it was Mississippi State. Okay. So Mississippi State, they're 19-9. Okay, they're 8-7. They are an NCAA tournament team. They are not an underdog. Okay, I think they're like a 2.5-point dog or whatever by the line. But stop it. So they made an announcement before that shot was hit by Shepard. Okay, Shepard had like a big night, 30+ points last night. He just went off, right? So before Shepard hit that shot in the paint to win the game for Kentucky, the announcer reminded everyone, do not storm the court. He reminded everyone, do not storm the court, because the SEC, they fine and all that stuff, right? So they make that announcement. Now, Shepard hits the shot. Kentucky wins. There was no need to storm the floor anyways. But my thing is this. Why is Mississippi State rushing the floor? You are an SEC opponent. I know it's Kentucky. Mississippi State's not Kentucky basketball. But at the same time, if you beat Kentucky basketball, you're an SEC school. Now, here's the deal. If Kentucky plays at the Nutter Center,
rush the court.
Rush the court. You beat Kentucky. Okay, and that's not a shot at Wright. Say that's just there's levels to this, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a joke to me that Mississippi State was about to rush the floor for beating number 16 Kentucky. Like, we got the rules need to stop too. There's too many teams that are favorited to win that sometimes win and still rush the floor anyways. I mean, I just think we get a little bit too loosey-goosey with when we storm the court and when we don't. And I need to stop saying loosey-goosey.
People just want to rush the court. They will find any reason to rush the court. I want to seem like a fuddy-duddy, but like have some standards about your program. Like the Mississippi State thing, if they would have won and stormed the court, I wouldn't have a huge problem with it, because I mean, Mississippi State is kind of like just a middle of the road team, so whatever. But like, I do think that you have to be pulling off an upset to storm the court. Like, it has to be a legit upset. Like, you can't storm the court and you're only favored to lose by 4 points. Like, if you're like a double-digit underdog and you're at home and the cowbells come out for Mississippi State and you actually win, then yeah, go for it. But I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, this court storming stuff has gotten out of hand, and that seems like it's just happening a lot.
Well, I think, again, when you tell people you can't do something,
they do it.
Yeah. Like, I think it's that. I don't think court storming has been all that common the last couple of years, but since the Caitlin Clark thing happened with Iowa at Ohio State about a month ago, and then with this, I guarantee you now schools are just looking for dumb reasons to storm the court. Now, we had Tanner Holden in with us just a little bit ago, and people are laughing about that, what he said. But like, let's be clear too. You are also telling, let's just use mid-major basketball for example. It's not like money is falling off trees here. Okay, to tell them that it's their responsibility. Let's say that there's a fine that comes down to mid-major schools. Like, that's a big chunk of change. So you're hurting the school even more at that point. Also, the resources to hire legitimate security to come hold them back. And by the way, outside of a SWAT team, who's going to hold back a wall of hundreds and hundreds of students? Like, I don't know what the solution is, but the bottom line is more effort needs to be put into preventing it if that's the case. Or players, just get the hell off the floor a little quicker. You kind of know what's coming. I mean, everyone, it's like on your mark, get set, go. I mean, you're just waiting for the ribbon to be cut. I don't know what the solution is. I do know this. It's not going to change. I don't think court storming is going anywhere, to be honest. I think the SEC, and what coaches and programs love doing in the SEC, they love going against their own conference. They love, like, you know what, I'm going to pay the fine. This is great. It's almost like a rallying moment even more. Yeah.
To hype the crowd up. The more the crowd is going crazy and doing crazy things as the other team is shooting the free throws, it's helping them win. So if it's going to help you win, why not? So we got two games I want to ask you about tonight in college basketball. Number 23, Gonzaga at San Francisco. San Francisco is 22-7. Gonzaga is 22-6. Gonzaga is obviously still ranked. San Francisco wins that game, they're storming the court.
Right? Like,
absolutely.
I'm looking for it. Why they are ranked, right? Why is it not
Gonzaga? Yeah, Gonzaga's 23rd. And another game going on.
Are they tonight though?
Yep, tonight.
I believe you. My bad.
No, I lied. That's tomorrow night.
Okay, so I was like, I'm on Wednesday night. I don't see it. I'm like,
I keep. Tomorrow's the leap year. Tomorrow's the leap day. I keep getting my days confused, But yeah, there's going to be a court storming tonight. You can almost guarantee it, man. It's going to happen. Like, so for instance, if Arizona State beats their big rival, Arizona, who's number 6 in the country, Arizona State is at home. If the Arizona State wins, they're storming the court.
Yeah.
And you know why they're storming the court? Because it's a hot button issue right now. You remember back in the day when the NFL stopped showing the streakers and guys running on the field and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
That still hasn't stopped people from doing it. They just stopped showing it on TV. People are still going to do this.
It's definitely not going to stop. Definitely not going to stop as far as that's concerned. If you're just tuning in, it's the Kinner and Kev Show here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's go to some of these comments. What up, Brad? Brad says, I watched security hold people back at Wright State when leaving. The team has to walk through the main walking area for fans, and Wright State had security to do that. But that's just, and Brad, like that's, so I know it's in the corner over here. So they'll have the gold, chains that they pull apart so the players can get off the floor and go back to the locker room and stuff. But like, it's not like, the fans are storming that situation. Look, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of different opinions on this. You know who we could talk about it with when we come back? Travis Trice.
Oh,
how about
Coach.
that? Coach Trice. Wright State assistant coach Travis Trice, of course, had a ton of success with boys and girls basketball coaching at that level here before moving up to be an assistant coach at Wright State. I'm jacked. I'm glad you're here, Coach. We're going to be hang out with Travis Trice on the other side. It's a Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal pitcher of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Can't sleep with this cold.
Honey.
Honey?
Honey. You need NyQuil Severe Honey.
NyQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a dreamy honey taste.
Feeling better, honey? Honey? I'll take that as a yes.
Try NyQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu symptom relief. NyQuil Severe with honey flavor. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever. Honeylicious, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Ohio has over 920,000 diabetics. If you are a diabetic, take a step in the right direction by having your feet checked routinely by a podiatric physician, the most qualified doctors to care for your feet. Adding a podiatrist to your healthcare team can help you better manage the effects of diabetes on your feet. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Hey, it's Keith Byers. Tax season is here, and I'm sure you're thinking about who is going to do my taxes. Try my friends at Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle. Call Michael and Justin today at 937-543-5770. They're ready to serve you at 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. Arrowhead Tax Service gives back to the community through athletics and nonprofits, and all new clients save 10% off online at arrowheadtaxservice.com, where their target is your satisfaction.
Silk's delicious plant-based beverages help bring a daily dose of goodness to help you feel plenty good. They are rich in calcium and a good source of vitamins A and D to support the health of you and your family. Shop wherever you find groceries.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, and we are back. It's the Kinner Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Hour number 2. We are off and rolling again. Kevin and I, it's been a couple days since we've been on air because Red spring training action, right? Like, and I'm with people like the spring training action right now. It's just kind of one of those things like, okay, we can just get to opening day now, right? Actually, with how cold it is outside, it's about we did the show from Great American Ballpark last year. It was a little cold.
You would be by yourself.
Yeah, but we're back and rolling here today. I appreciate Wright State letting us come and set up here in the suites again, doing the show. Tanner Holden hopped on with us in the first hour. We'll get into some baseball talk around the corner. We're going to have Ben Verlander, the brother of Justin Verlander, who's with Fox Sports. He's an MLB analyst. We're going to talk about the Reds. He put out an article yesterday. The Reds are his favorite to win the NL Central. He's in love with their pitching staff right now, with their rotation and stuff. So we're going to talk about that with Ben Verlander coming up here in about a half hour. But I want to bring in our next guest, of course. I was talking with Nick Phillips, and we were talking about who to have on and stuff. I'm like, I want to get Coach Trice on because, I mean, you've just, from your playing days to your coaching days, your high school coaching days, to now watching, how involved you are here at Wright State. It's been pretty cool. Not that you need my pat on the back, but Travis Trice with us here on the show. I appreciate you coming on.
No, thanks for having me. Definitely
today.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to getting the chance to chat with you.
So you're 3, right? Like you're 3, and settled in now. Very locked in with the coaching staff, of course, especially with the core of players. But just talk about like how that opportunity has kind of really grown over the last couple of years from your first year to now. Obviously, seeing you in action, kind of getting a chance to travel with the team this year and stuff too. It's been pretty cool, and I know you're having a blast.
No, it's been an exciting time, and most of that is just because of the relationship with the guys. The relationship with them has been unreal. Just even going back before that, when Coach first got the job here, I interviewed with him, and he had a lot of interest in me at the time. And then there were some things that wasn't able to work job description wise, some of the things that was in the contract. But, I actually became Coach's State Farm agent, at that time. So I've been working with him on business, and, and obviously he's been able to see what I've done at the high school level on the men's side and even some of the girls side the last, 4 years before I had started here. But it's been great. Coach Nagy is, just a tremendous leader. And what I mean by that is he kind of allows us to be kind of our own, your own job. Like you're working your own individual business. And, it gives us a lot of freedom, especially on time when it's our days to, to have a scout for a team. It's kind of all yours. It's your baby, and he trusts us. And it's all you can ask for as an assistant coach, as a coach that trusts you and knows that you're going to get the job done and do what's best for the team. So I've enjoyed that, and the camaraderie of the coaching staff that we have. We're very close coaching staff, and we have probably, we don't know this for sure, but we think that we might have the most kids on a coaching staff in the country. And I say that because Coach has 5, I have 5, Coach Sargent has 4, Beret's got 3, Coach Golf has 2, and then, Coach Gibbs has 1 on the way. So we got our own little tribe, here going on, but it's just been a blast to be able to, kind of gel and spend some time with, the guys that I get to come to work with, and I enjoy that every day.
A lot of coaches with a lot of kids, and you're going to probably lead the country in no sleep too. It sounds like with all that going on. One thing I was sharing with him, one thing I noticed over the weekend, that the game at Oakland, you had the, Coach Nagy, a lot of head coaches, and because all the experience I have being in locker rooms, right? Not saying that assistants don't get to kind of make adjustments during the game, but like one thing I found that was very fascinating after, talking with Chris as well, you had made the suggestion of, Tanner, let him be the point, run the point, because so much pressure was being put on Trey. So just for a head coach to be able to make adjustments based on suggestions from the coaches in game, that's not common, right? Like, is that common, do you think, or is that rare here?
I think it is kind of common for the most part, but the head coach is always going to make the final decision, and it's our job to be able to just kind of add some ideas that he may not see, or be able to say something from a different perspective. And, we all make suggestions from different times, and coach is the one that's going to weigh those options and see if he feels like it's best for the team and make that final call. But I had mentioned for, about 24 hours leading up to it, we scored 60 points, our season low against Oakland, just 2 weeks earlier. And so I really, for myself, kind of just spent some time, and, we got good shots, during that time. It wasn't so much that they had locked us up defensively. We just missed some shots. But I also was, kind of trying to see, like, where are our shots coming from and where are the holes in their defense. And I just kind of took it upon myself for the 24 to 48 hours before the game to look at that. I knew Dan Beret was his scout. He was focused more on how we're going to get them stopped defensively. And, and I just put a few clips in front of coach, and I think he felt comfortable with that. And one of the things I noticed in the first half is that every time Trey got the ball up top, they were double teaming him. And they were running at him, and then it kind of just flashed back. This is kind of how things work for coaches. It flashed back to the end of our first game here, and I kept seeing, Coach Campy was telling their guys to make sure to not let Trey get any threes off. Get out on him, force him to drive, but let's not let him get any open threes. So I knew that their defense was geared around him, but something about that game kind of triggered it. The Trey only had gotten like 4 shots in the first half. He was a little frustrated. We got off to a great start, but then we got a little stagnant. And some of the stuff that I had looked at on film, kind of came to mind, like, let's take him off. Let's hide him. Let's get him lost in the shuffle a little bit earlier in the possession. And to be honest with you, after going back and watching the film, our first 10 or 12 possessions, they spent so much time trying to find Trey that they lost Alex. And then, after every 4-minute media timeout, there was a different way they were trying to defend it. And I was like, hey, now we need to make sure that we're looking kind of at this and looking at that. And our guys just play. Like, we have so much trust in them that they've played together for so long. They're talented offensive players. Coach never wants to stymie, their own creativity offensively. And all we did is really just, had them trying to find Trey. And then what happens is they lose the other better offensive players also that we have. And so Trey was tremendous because he just defended the whole second half. He wasn't getting frustrated that he wasn't getting shots because we were rolling. And what ends up happening is you have, Alex with 20 points. You have, Brandon with 19. You have Tanner with 15, 8 assists and 6 rebounds. And AJ was a monster inside. So it was a good win for us. And I was just glad that what I said to coach and what I showed him when we were sitting on the bench made sense to him. And that's the only way that he's going to let it roll. And he, afforded me the opportunity. He said, go ahead and, draw it up and tell them where you think they should be. And it worked out for us.
Travis Trice with us, or Wright said assistant coach. And I wanted to ask this too, because I started thinking about this, the roster right now, like it's pretty much the same roster as last year, right? Except you dropped Tanner in. And I'm not saying Tanner's why this offense has just exploded the way it has, but that's why I want to ask you, Coach Nagy the other day at the coaches show said, you'd be surprised at how little we work on our offense. And the reason that's surprising is it's, 5th in scoring, in conference, 88, points per game, which is just insane. Number 1 in the country in field goal percentage and all that. Is how much of that step from last year to this year is guys just, more experience, Tanner coming back. I mean, what is it's the same roster as last year predominantly. What's the difference in your eyes from one year to the next?
I don't think anyone could put their finger on exactly what it is. I mean, you have a guy like AJ. If you looked at AJ going through warmups, as another team or, as a fan, you wouldn't probably think a whole lot about him. He's not walking around with rippled muscles and, freakish athleticism or all those things. But one thing, that AJ Braun can do is he can put the ball in the basket. And if you're going to leave him one-on-one, he can use his right hand, his left hand. He's stronger than he looks, especially offensively when he's in the post. And he's got one of the best touch of any big men, that I've seen. And that's, again, for coach's philosophy, we're going to throw the ball inside. So now if you're going to let him play one-on-one, he's going to hurt you. And so, you got somebody who's leading the nation in field goal percentage, that you're throwing the ball into. And then, one of the things for Trey Calvin, the analytics over the last 10 years of basketball have said, don't shoot the mid-range jumper. Well, Coach Nagy is smart enough to know that Trey is elite at shooting the mid-range jumper, and he's never tried to take that away from him. Forget about it in analytics. The last 2 years, Trice shooting 50% from the field as a point guard, which is not easy to do because he's shooting mostly jump shot. He's not getting a lot of layups. And he's working to be a part of the 50, 40, 90 club. This year, 50%, he's right at like 49.4. I think overall, he's over 40% from three. And he's about 5 free throws, I think, away from being at 90%, from the free throw line. So you've got really good offensive players. Alex Hubricks has come into his own, which people just don't know. Like, we call it, being in your bag. Alex Hubricks has got a full bag.
Mm-hmm.
He can put you in the post. He can shoot threes. He can take you off the bounce. He's got an incredible, mid-range spin move away from the basket. And he's got playing with a high level of confidence right now. And Brandon Knoll, you don't have to run a single thing for. He's going to get offensive rebounds. He's going to back cut you. He's shooting the three at 43.5%, I think it is right now. So he's shooting the three with confidence. So you have some very talented offensive players that are unselfish, and coach allows them to do what they do.
Coach, I'm a basketball junkie. I love basketball. I love everything about the game. I'm assuming you're the same way since you're a coach, but obviously with your 5 kids and obviously coaching Wright State, I'm sure you're not able to get around to as many high school games as you used to, or watch as much association as you used to. But what do you pick up from watching the association that you can bring to the Raiders?
It's a tough one because you're exactly right. Like I've probably only been to maybe 8 to 10 high school games this year, and
that's more than I thought you was going to say.
And that's tough. I count 2 because I went to one last night where there was 2 games. So I could count that as 2.
Double dip.
But, it's hard, to get away. And now I look at it from one of the things is I've been able to see things on both sides as a coach. There's times where I'm sitting here wondering, I've got all these great players, and why aren't there more coaches, here? I'm calling the area schools and stuff and telling them to come to the gym. And now from the coaching side of things, you realize there really is not a lot of time. Like you think that there is, like we have freedom, but usually when we're home, and that's the beauty of, how Coach Nagy operates, is he doesn't want us just sitting in the office, punching a time clock. If you can get your work done at home and whatnot, it's your business. Treat it like your business and take care of that. And he doesn't care if that's getting done at the office or if it's getting done at home, all of those things. But we really, this staff really, really works hard, and we invest a ton of time, like most other, programs I know. But it's difficult to get out there, and you're talking about what do you bring back, to here. I don't know what the answer is to that, because our time is really focused and spent on how we can make this program better and the guys that we have here. That's where 90 to 95% of our time is spent.
Well, speaking from an alum, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
We appreciate coming to see the Raiders play, and most importantly, get some dubs.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that you have so many things that go on throughout the season.
Yeah.
This guy's in a slump. This guy's got something going on at home. This guy's struggling in a class. There is the team camaraderie where it needs to be. You spend so much time ironing out all of those things throughout the course of your season, so that eventually coach can just focus on basketball. That's really where your full-time job is. You don't get an opportunity to be out as much as maybe you would like to, looking at, some of the high school players. The beauty of it is, we have access to any team that's on Huddle and all of those kind of things. So I spend a lot of time watching games just to kind of get a feel for area players or whatever the case might be. And then that's tough because you need to get out and see them in person so that you can see the body language and how they respond to coaching and all of those things. You need to see that stuff in person.
Coach, I'm curious your thoughts on this, just because the success that you've had coaching at the high school level around here. When we talk high school basketball here, we're always we get so frustrated, all the talent that's in this city, and we're like, oh, there they go. Oh, there he goes over there. And, you see Torrey Patton come into the Nutter Center. We saw Mari, which was cool because he got to play here for a year. Like, even going back before you were here, I mean, is there a reason why there's not more local players that come here? Now, I've always said this, too, because some say, man, you criticizing Coach Nagy because he's not getting the local kids. I don't care if he gets kids off from Canada. I don't really care where he gets the players from, as long as you just keep winning, right?
Yes.
But there is a lot of talent that leaves, and I know there's a lot of various reasons. Some guys just want to get out of the area. And that's the case for a lot of places. but just talk about the talent in this city alone. And we're, before coming here, what was your thought process on, should we see more local kids playing here? And just, I'm sure you keep an eye on that here locally as well.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that a lot of it is exactly what you said. The kids that grew up here, if they're thinking about, kind of getting out of Dayton. And if they have an opportunity, something that might be a lateral move in their eyes or whatever the case, but it's outside the city, that's kind of a first choice, in a lot of those situations. And it's not that the staff, didn't recruit the area. They did. And there was, some other kids and stuff that the coaches recruited twice. They went somewhere else and then they transferred from that school and coach tried to get them again. And it might have come down to like the final 2 or 3 in their decision. And they still, I don't know if I really want to come back to the Dayton area, or whatnot. So I think that has a lot to do with it. We've got a young man, Dejon Anderson, is here, who's really a hidden gem, to be honest with you. He's got a lot of work to do. Some of the things in the city, it gets a bad rep, a lot of times for, a lot of freelance basketball and those kind of things. And some of that, there's some reality to that. There's some truth to it. So you get a young man who, if they haven't been maybe more in a structured system, now as a college coach, it's kind of hard. Like, how is that going to translate to what you need them to do? There's a learning curve that's going to happen for every freshman. How big is that learning curve and how much time do you have to give them to learn, to be able to contribute? And that's always a tough question, when it comes to, recruiting the area, recruiting the kids from the city, all of those kind of things. But I think that, me being here have a little bit deeper connection just with coaching here for the number of years that I have. There's a trust factor that's always there. Coach came, from South Dakota. And so people didn't know necessarily who Scott Nagy is. They don't understand, for 21 years that he was a big time winning coach. And so there's no connection, there. So it takes you a little bit of time, to put in the work and lay that foundation. And I know that's one of the things that coach was excited to have me about, is feeling like we could kind of get a little more grounded in that area.
Yeah, I know Amari, he comes in one year, never really reached. I mean, because I remember when he was at Green Bay, I never seen a kid like him before, too, by the way, to be a guard in today's college basketball and not be able to shoot the three. He's not able to, but I mean, he averaged like 16 points a game as a freshman when he was at Green Bay that year. And I think he attempted 3 threes the entire season. That was one of the wildest stat lines I'd ever seen for college basketball. But I was bummed, didn't, get one more year out of him, of course. But that was pretty cool, seeing him come here locally.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I don't care where the players come from as long as winning. Like, look, I don't care. I just keep winning, man. That's all that matters. But no, that's one thing, too, we've talked a lot about, too, is just the local high school scene. Now, you've had a lot of success coaching the local high school scene for both boys and girls basketball.
Yeah.
I know on the coaches show when you were on a few weeks ago, it talked about that you won a state championship, on the boys' side and came close with the girls' side, but no coach has ever won both, and you came this close. I don't mean to bring it up.
He's opening some wounds now. I thought those were healed. That was, one of the things I didn't think about that going in. I literally, the story behind that of me switching over and realized that Deshaun Parker, who went to Cleveland State, and Darius Quisenberry, who ended up at Fordham. Both of those guys would have been seniors the year that I moved over to the girls. So I had a pretty full stable, that year. The Christian Smith, who went to Ohio State to play football, Blue. So that's a pretty good 3, in high school basketball. And that team went on to the regional finals. So I didn't leave when the cupboard was bare. The crazy story about that is that my daughter was going into her junior year at Wayne. And, just one of the crazy things, I'm driving her to an AAU event. It's just the 2 of us, and we're going to Pittsburgh. I remember it pretty clearly. And, my birthday had just passed. It was after May. And my birthday had just passed. And I had guys, Ahmad Wagner and, Zarius Williams, those guys had stopped by the house, to say happy birthday and, miss you, coach, and all of those things. And it was a good scene. And I was getting phone calls throughout the day and stuff or whatever. And she was just like, man, you got a special bond, with the guys that you have, and you've been able to coach all 3 of the boys. So her 3 older brothers, I coached all of them in high school. And she said, I really love the connection you have with those guys. And she said, I wish you'd have that connection with, because I was close to the girls that she played with. I would love to have that connection and stuff, with you, with our, she got me. And so she was like, and their coach had just gotten let go. So
Was
I
she a
wasn't
junior at this time?
She was going to be a junior.
Gonna be a junior. Okay.
And so their coach had just gotten let go, and she said, "If you have the chance to coach me, why wouldn't you?" And I literally, it was silence, and I was like, "Would you want me to coach you?" And she was like, "Yeah." And me and the other girls have already talked about it. We wish you would. And I mean, literally, it was probably not even 24 hours, that I'm like, I'm strongly considering this if this is an option. So I talked to Jay Minton, the athletic director, and he was, Trav, whatever you want to do. Like, we want you here, and, we understand why you would want to do that, and we'd be, open to that for sure. So that's the short, quick version of exactly what happened with the mindset of switching over, to the girls. And when, she's finishing up at Florida International now. She's getting ready to get her master's. She's working in grad school right now.
Awesome.
She went to Bowling Green, played there for 2 years, and then she's been at Florida International the last 3 years in Miami. I don't know that I'll ever get her back to the Midwest.
That's a good vacation spot. So.
Yes. And my wife, trust me, she's been down there a few times, and she loves that. But they're having a great season down there, and with all of that, winning the championship in 2015, probably the thing I remember the most is the next year, 2016, we're the #1 team in the state. We're undefeated. We get upset right here on this floor, by Lakota East, and so that's one of the things that kind of sticks with me. But moving over to the girls, we got to the regional finals with Bree Hall, and I had Bree Hall for all 4 years, and she was McDonald's All-American and is playing at South Carolina. They're undefeated, #1 in the nation. She's won a national championship. And then off that team, we had 5 girls that went Division I. So it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed my time coaching both. People ask me all the time, did you enjoy coaching boys or girls more? And it's totally different, but I equally enjoyed both of them to the fullest. On the boys' side, you typically have to convince them they're not as good as they think they are. And on the girls' side, it's the complete opposite. You have to convince them that they're much better than they think they are. But we had some very high-level players on the men's and women's side, and I greatly enjoyed it.
Speaking of the women's game, especially in college basketball, I mean, with the Caitlin Clarks, with the Cody McMahons, I mean, what's my young lady? Angel Reese at LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of star power on the women's side of the docket. And I mean, I just think back when I was growing up watching college basketball. I'm a Syracuse basketball fan, so Carmelo and that whole era for Syracuse basketball, like there's like superstars on there. I don't see that same superstar element on the men's side, but I sure see it on the women's side.
Well, the women's game is exploded. I mean, it's been unbelievable, to be able to watch it and the notoriety that it's getting. And again, you have some incredible players, like what Caitlin Clark does on the basketball floor is unbelievable. Man, woman, whatever you want, you say about it. But the impact also that they're having, it's one of the funny things. I went to my first girls game for a high school girls game the other night, where I coached at Wayne. Jamar Shackelford is the head coach there now and is doing a great job. And I hadn't gotten to get back to a game all season, and they were in the tournament playing. And one of the subtle differences was just literally how seeing the Caitlin Clark's, Angel Reese's, these women at South Carolina, you watch how Dawn Staley wants them to look their best, and so you see more makeup and you see lip gloss and all of these things. They're beautiful women, and they're out here competing at such a high level. And I saw it at the high school level, the other night when I went over to the game. I saw girls, you could tell they were making sure that their hair was the way it was and that they looked good, but the competition was fierce.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
So the impact has been great. And I think that, women's basketball needed some things to happen, to be able to bring some kind of, some light, to just how good the sport is and stuff for women's basketball.
Yeah, because I just remember growing up, like seemed like it was in phases. Like, it was Tennessee's turn, and then it was UConn's turn, and now it seems like, hey man, it could be any of these 6 teams out here that could actually win this thing. And I think that brings more eyeballs to the TV set as opposed to watching UConn put up 50 on somebody.
By the way, you know why Gino knows The rest of it, he cracks me up. The quote last week. Listen, it's not about winning championships. It's, the coach speak. It's about graduating. I'm like, hey, you weren't saying that 10 years ago.
Yeah,
man. It was all about
was out there giving people buckets. You weren't saying that.
It's all about winning.
You can tell when coaches have accepted that. Yeah, we're not the dynasty anymore. So now it's about graduation and stuff. Like, which it is. It is. It is.
But you're exactly right, though. I mean, it goes in phases, goes in cycles, like you're saying, and the parity is about as as good as it's been on the men's side as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just don't have the super dominant programs like you've had in the past, and the teams that are a little more dominant are the teams that have kind of come out of the shadows a little bit. So it's fun to watch, and again, I'm watching a ton of basketball, whether it's on my laptop or in between games. Sometimes we flip up and see what's going on in the other in the other leagues, and especially in our league. The Horizon League is so competitive, right now. And, just looking at where we're at 1 through 11 and, only a couple of games separating the first seed through the 8th seed and, all of that. It's going to be one heck of a Horizon League tournament.
Absolutely. Horizon League is tournament's about to come up. And I got to tell you, Coach, my father-in-law, he played football at Youngstown State.
Okay.
So when you guys were up there, we're texting throughout the game, talking trash because we're winning.
Yeah.
And then things went the other way. And I didn't get any text back. I got a FaceTime from him.
Oh, man. Yeah, it hurt us just as bad as it did the Wright State fan. And, they've done a great job over there. But we're looking forward to possibly getting another crack at them.
Me too.
Speaking of Youngstown, like we talk a lot of the time about the transfer portal and how like that impacts like the high major teams. I saw a wild stat the other day that's any high major program that added 7 or more new players. There's no teams ranked in the top 25 that added 7 or more players. But in the mid-major level, watch a team like Youngstown. I think they only had 2 players on the roster
from
last year, and they piecemealed it all together. And Calhoun's done that a lot. But, like, it's worked for them thus far. Now, again, the end result's all that matters. You can win games early and all that stuff. But it's interesting because you have the Wright State approach that is, it's a program. There's you're developing. It's the same guys coming back year after year and then just stacking, recruiting classes. But it's kind of, weird. You don't have to say anything about Youngstown, but it's like they're starting to kind of cool off a bit as the team that's stacked with the experience heating up at the tail end. Now there's still games left, of course, but it is interesting watching that dynamic of what's the right, what's the wrong way. It's different ways, of course, but it's interesting watching a team like Youngstown. Like if that works for them, team's copycat. It's worked for them, it could work for us. So it's still interesting to see because you and Northern Kentucky, very similar type of programs. I mean, Darren Horn and Coach Nagy and both staffs have done a great job. Very similar in how they build their rosters, and that's what you guys have on Saturday too.
Yeah, and it's one of the things like it kind of just depends on the staff. It depends on their personality, the mentality that they have as a program, and what's right or wrong. I don't know. I think Youngstown would be very happy with what they've accomplished in the last couple of years through the portal, the kids that they've received, that they've gotten in the portal, and how their season has gone. Now, at the end of the day, you're trying to make an NCAA tournament. You're trying to make a run in the NCAA tournament. That's what's going to be the most important. But they've had a lot of success with it. We were looking at the scouting report one day, and when we played Youngstown, and we looked at 5 grad transfers, were starting, for their squad at that time. So, I think it's tough to duplicate every single year because you're going to have a brand new roster, each year when you're bringing in guys that have 1 year left, and then trying to mesh and gel. Those teams, you might have a couple of years that are great, and then you may have one team that's doesn't communicate well, doesn't gel together, and then it looks like it's a complete failure. So, but we have the same issues on the other side. You're going to have 18-year-olds, coming in that are playing against other teams that have replaced their 22-year-old with another 22-year-old. And, whether we like it or not, there's a difference in, just physical grown man strength between being 18 and 22. And so, but we believe in the system. Coach probably feels like we might need to mix in a transfer or something here or there that's got to be the right fit. That's the only thing coach cares about. Like, you'll take a kid who might not have all the clout, might not have all the stats if he fits the piece. And the piece is not just on the court for Coach Nagy. The piece is, how does he fit into our locker room? How does he fit into being coached? Because your coach is going to coach you. And so those things are really kind of what's most important, for us. And again, what's the right way? What's the wrong way? Our expectations for this season are well beyond where we're at right now today. But at the end of the day, we're playing good basketball right now. We're playing probably as well as we played all season. And this is when it's important.
Yep.
So now over the next coming couple of weeks, someone's going to say getting transfers worked or it didn't. And someone's going to say, sticking with, young guys and developing in them, that worked or it didn't. And that can be a year-to-year basis.
Last thing before you go, Coach, who's your NFL team?
Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to say it with pride, even though I'm hurting inside. So I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I have been since 1979. I've been through all the great Super Bowls, and I've been through the horrible, last 25 years. So I don't talk trash. I'm not a trash talker. I'm not one of those guys that says this is our year. I still reserve the fact that, I just want to enjoy the game, and I enjoy the star on the helmet and the guys that we've had coming through. It's been unbearable, for the last several, for the last 25 years, really. But I'll be back on the saddle again when preseason starts.
See, I'm from El Paso. So I lived there for like 10, 12 years. So, but family's all Cowboy fans, living in Texas, but I moved here and I became a Browns fan. So everyone hates Cowboys fans. Everyone hates Browns fans.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I mean, everyone hates Kinner. That's basically what it comes down to. But,
that's exactly right.
Jerry Jones going to need a loan because Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb.
Extended him just to wrap,
Listen, the one thing is I will tell you, people always ask, what do you think they need to do? I don't know. I'll let them figure that out. I'm not going to waste my brain cells on trying to figure out what we should do.
You trade owners,
whatever team that they put out on the floor, I'll support it. I'll be trying to figure out what we can do and stuff to win the next game, and then I'll call it a day from there.
Well, good stuff. But the game that matters the most coming up later on tonight, Wright State, Fort Wayne, 7 o'clock the tip-off, 6:45 coverage begins. Chris Collins and I will be on the call, and it's been fun following you guys all season, getting to go on the road and stuff, but we're really looking forward to the final couple home games.
Yes.
Big one tonight, but even bigger one on Saturday, of course. They're all big. Sorry, every game's big, my fault. Northern Kentucky, the rival, of course. That's always a fun matchup every single season, and it's kind of nice to have that one kind of close it all out, the finale before the Horizon League tournament next week. So.
Yeah, we've done no talking about them whatsoever because PFW is a very talented team, and you're going to see an exciting brand of basketball the way that they're at you, and they're a smaller team, but they just play tough defensively, and they really try to get to the rim. So we've got our challenges there, and like you said, these last two games are important. There's going to be a lot of switching that's going to happen from seeds 2 to 6 and all of those things. And as crazy as all of this sounds, we're talking about our season, we still have an outside chance to tie for first place. You think about the things that could happen, going forward. You need Oakland to lose to Detroit, and those kind of things, and get them to drop back to where we're at. And we have to take care of our business for 2 games.
All right. Well, I know you still have some stuff to do before tip-off tonight. We appreciate Tanner and you taking time here on game day and hanging out with us here in the suite. So best of luck tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon. So thank you, Coach.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, good stuff. It's the Kinner Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We're going to talk a little Reds baseball with MLB Fox Sports MLB analyst Ben Verlander. We're going to talk a little Cincinnati Reds baseball. He's very high on the Cincinnati Reds. He thinks they have the best rotation in the NL Central, and he even has them as the favorite to win the NL Central. So we're going to talk about that with Ben Verlander on the other side. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast is calling for clear skies and 23 tonight. Sunshine 44 tomorrow. Partly sunny, chance of rain on Friday and 51. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
So you just used bug spray in your home. Now what? Well, between the waiting and waiting for things to dry up and keeping your family away from the mess, it hits you. You could have used Zevo. Unlike other bug sprays that stick around, Zevo goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Your gas light's on. We need to fill up.
Gas around here is too expensive.
Don't drive all over searching for the lowest prices. Just download the free Upside app and get cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying gas? I'm stopping now to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code RADIO for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. That's promo code RADIO.
At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, we've always been famous for more. More than a time-tested recipe that took decades to develop. More than our secret blend of savory herbs and spices. More than the hand-dipped, hand-battered, fried to perfection chicken you've come to know and love. Because while you may not know it yet, Lee's is famous for fish, too. Get a tasty fish fillet, crispy potato wedges, creamy tartar sauce, and a regular drink at a great price. Only at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
It's happening now. Folks across the Midwest are rushing to save big money at Menards and get 11% off everything. Now that I think about it, my recording studio does need a bit of an upgrade. I better hurry up and finish this read. Hurry in to get started on those big projects and save big money with 11% off everything at Menards. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Honey, I'm heading out to Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
All right, and we welcome you back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show live here on Dayton's ESPN Radio 1410 Wing AM. We're Dayton's radio home for, well, quite a few things. Of course, we have, we're Dayton's radio home for Ohio State football and basketball. We're also Dayton's radio home for Wright State basketball, but we're also Dayton's home radio home, of course, for Cincinnati Reds baseball. And it's been really awesome over the last less than a week, I guess, of just being able to turn on the radio and listen to Tommy Thrawn, the Cowboy, and just hear Reds baseball. And I know right now the temperature is like at the upper 20s. It's miserable here right now, but yesterday was in the 60s. I had, driving around in the truck, I had the windows down, listening to Reds baseball. It was awesome. But baseball season's almost here. It technically is here. Spring training action going on. No Red spring training games on radio here today, of course. That's why we're on live with you. But wanted to talk a little Cincinnati Reds. I wanted a few spring training games to go by before we started to dive into the deep end. But I'm excited to bring on our next guest. We've never had him on before. Fox Sports MLB analyst, Mr. Ben Verlander, giving us some time here today. Ben, how are you, sir? We appreciate your time.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. One reason I really wanted to have you on, of course, is because, we live in a red silo over here. So, of course, we're going to overreact when things go poorly, and we're going to overreact when things go really well. But I don't feel like we're overreacting to the optimism that we have for this team this year. You seem to be very high on this young Reds roster as well heading into this season.
Yeah, I really don't feel like there's an overreaction to this team. I'm a big fan, and look, when I look at the NL Central, I think the Reds have by far the best starting pitching rotation, and obviously health is always a factor, as it is with every team. But you look at the arms they have, the potential they have. I think they have the best rotation in the division, and if everything pans out and you can stay healthy the majority of the year, I think they could have a top rotation in the game of baseball. You pair that with a lineup that is super young and super exciting and is only, obviously a sophomore slump can be a thing for a lot of players, but hopefully you get a better version of Ellie, who I think is going to be a star in the league. It's just a matter of, having some time under your belt and figuring it out. I think this lineup has the potential to be really good as well. So I really do like everything about the team.
With that last year, you get the sense, they were kind of playing with house money. This was a team that was expected to lose 100 games, right? Like heading into the season, there wasn't a whole lot of excitement. And then all of a sudden, you start to see the young players start to emerge. Steer was fantastic. McClain gets called up, was great. And then, of course, Ellie Mania takes over in June. And really, you just start to see things kind of take off. And you got a glimpse of what the future can be. And the future became instant right away. But last year was kind of that you're playing with house money. If you lose, you're supposed to lose. If you win, it's like gravy on top, right? With this year, with there being expectations, with your experience covering baseball, playing baseball, I mean, is there any concern that maybe the expectations could be a factor in working against a young, inexperienced roster like this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's always that concern, and that's how, you learn a lot about a team. I think the Orioles were a good example of that last year. They finally felt like they had expectations going into the season, and they were able to capitalize that and almost just do what I feel like you need to do, which is go out and play and be your young, energetic self. And I do feel like the Reds have a lot of similarities to the Orioles, and I know the Orioles get a lot of the hype because of the Adley Rutschmans, because of the Jackson Hollidays coming and the Gunnar Hendersons. There's those big top prospects that are panning out in the big leagues. But look, the Reds have guys like Matt McClain, who might not be as big of a name as those guys, but I love Matt McClain, and Ellie De La Cruz, who was the number one prospect in baseball, and CES as well. And there are so many of those young names that have come up and proven that they're ready to be big leaguers. And I think Ellie is going to do that this year. So the hype and expectations, I hope they're able to channel that and play with a little bit of confidence. Cause I think those are the two different things. You can almost play into the hype and expectations and it becomes too much and too much pressure, or you can use it as confidence and say, yeah, you know what, we are supposed to be really good. And we're going to go out and prove that. So hopefully that's what they do, because this team really can be very, very fun, I think.
I feel like, you look at a team like the Orioles, you look at a team like the Reds, I just get the sense that there's a lot of Major League Baseball pulling for organizations like this because of the way that they've built their rosters. They have developed this roster. We live in this world where we think baseball, the only way to win is to go out and buy your roster. Obviously, you have to pay, and you have to pay players. They deserve that money, no doubt. But it's like a lot of baseball sitting back, holding their breath, saying we need to see an example of a team that, like the Reds, like the Orioles, they don't spend a ton of money, but they're going to go through this rebuild and come out on top being World Series contenders. Do you get the sense that baseball as a whole, you look at what the Dodgers did. I don't think they did anything wrong, but they're viewed as like the modern day evil empire, if you will. I feel like baseball's sitting back kind of rooting for teams like the Orioles and Reds to prove that you don't have to go and spend billions of dollars just to be able to compete. Do you get that sense as well?
Yeah, I think there's multiple different ways to win in baseball, and I think that's what makes it cool. Is in other sports, like there's in basketball, you only got 5 guys that can play at a time, and in the NFL, your quarterback's going to touch the ball every single play, and if you have a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes on your team, you're going to be there at the end of the year. In baseball, that's proven to not really be the case. Look at last year's World Series, the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. So there are so many different ways to win, and the Yankees did it forever, and the Dodgers this year have the ability to maybe spend a little more money than other teams are able to and go out and get those big free agents. And other teams don't have that luxury, but it doesn't mean you really have less of a chance of winning. And you mentioned the Orioles; they're the prime example currently, and as well as the prime example being the Houston Astros. So Mike Elias goes to the Orioles from the Astros. He's doing the same thing. He's building from within, and then when the time is right, you pounce on a free agent or two to build, but you have that core of guys that you built up, and you're able to have this sustained success. And I feel like that's what the Reds are on the cusp of, is growing all of this homegrown talent and then adding some pieces around it. And they might not be the biggest names, but I think Frankie Montas could be a big addition to the rotation. I'm hopeful Candelario can be a big addition. So yes, absolutely, the Reds can win doing it this way, which is building from within and then adding the pieces when the time is right.
Yeah, it's wild. You talked about, the Diamondbacks. You forget they made the World Series last year, and they finished 2 games ahead of the Reds. The Reds missed the playoffs by 2 games. The Diamondbacks had that spot, and you saw how far that they went, and that's just how tight and close baseball is and can be, no doubt about it. Your thought NL Central, because obviously, there's a lot of hype and talk and excitement about the Cincinnati Reds, but the Cubs made a major move this week as well that got a lot of people's attention with Cody Bellinger. How does that Cody Bellinger move, change how you view the Reds in the NL Central? Your thoughts of the NL Central heading into the season?
I think the Cubs needed to make that Cody Bellinger move. I think they can absolutely be a playoff team, but that was a move that they needed to make, was getting. I didn't think the lineup was good enough without him, but I do think they can be a good team. The rotation has a bit of concerns for me. Same with the Cardinals. I do think on paper right now the Cardinals have the best lineup in the NL Central. Pitching rotation wise, look, they definitely made a lot of moves, completely revamped it, but it's an old rotation and not a rotation that I believe is going to be an elite rotation by any means. So I really do, and I said this on my show this week with Fox Sports. I really do think the Reds have every bit of a chance to win the NL Central. They are my pick to win the NL Central. I think they by far have the best rotation in the division. And I think when we look up at the end of the year, we could look at the lineup and say, yeah, they also have the best lineup in the NL Central, because guys like Elly De La Cruz came around and showed why he was the number 1 prospect in baseball. And McClain built on last year's success, and Christian Encarnacion Strand was really good. I really do believe in the Reds to win the NL Central this year, but I think the Cubs and Cardinals are going to be fun teams as well. But the Cubs needed Cody Bellinger to be successful this year.
What are your thoughts on David Bell? David Bell's an interesting manager throughout baseball, because I thought about it. If David Bell is a part of the Reds as they come up and they start, they win the division, they make the playoffs, and I'm not saying it's never happened, but can you think of the last manager that was the manager of a team that entered a rebuild and was the manager still the guy in charge waiting on the other side? Doesn't happen often. I don't think that's right, and I think it's kind of cool that David Bell was shown the patience to navigate through the murky waters of those losing seasons and is still the guy coming out on the other side. That's rare in baseball, right? David Bell, kind of a rare figure as far as that's concerned, and it's kind of nice to see the Reds trust him throughout that process.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one example that I can think of is Brandon Hyde. We talked a lot about the Orioles. Brandon Hyde was there through some bad years and came out on the other side, and you really and that speaks volumes to him and that organization. And I really do feel that way with the Reds as well. I really like Bell. I think he's such a fun manager to watch because he has a really I think for a while in baseball, analytics took over and became a little bit too much of the decision-making process, is just looking at numbers. And I do think there's room for analytics in the game. Obviously, I think it's important, but I think there's also a need to have a bit of feel and understanding of the game, and he does. And it'd be really cool again to see a manager, like you said, you hardly ever see it. A manager be there through the bad times and come out on the other side, and hopefully for the Reds this year, come out on the other side as a playoff team.
Ben Verlander, Fox Sports MLB analyst, awesome enough to give us some time here today. Very high up on the Cincinnati Reds, and I know we're getting geared up and excited for opening day, which seems like forever away from now, nonetheless. But last thing on the way out, Ben, a lot of optimism about the Reds and just baseball as a whole right now. Baseball coming off a very successful season. You saw attendance figures up, ratings up. Rob Manfred's not the most popular figure when his name gets mentioned to people, but it's kind of hard to argue that some of the changes he's made have been a hit, that have been successful. What's your perception of Rob Manfred and the changes he's made and coming off the season that was deemed very successful, considering all the changes that were made and deemed to be pretty successful?
Yeah, look, it's not an easy job, right? I think it's become this fun and trendy thing to do on social media is bash a commissioner of really any league that there is, any of the major sports out there. And I feel like Manfred has been no exception to that. That's what happens on social media. And I do think amidst all of that, it's fun and trendy, but credit where credit is due. I thought last year was really big for the game of baseball. Attendance skyrocketed. Baseball games were fun and exciting to attend, and that's what you heard by and large by everybody that went to a game. It doesn't feel rushed. It just feels like there's a lot more action packed into a less amount of time, and it just is it's a fun experience going to the ballpark. The game is fun. There's more stuff happening, and he really does deserve a lot of credit for that. And I know he's gotten a lot of flack over the last couple of years, but I really do think it's important to point out when he does something well, and I really do believe in what he's done there. I think the game is a blast to watch right now.
Joey Votto, does he get a job? Is he on a major league roster when opening day arrives?
Man, I sure hope so. My gut says yes. I think somebody will sign him. I think he wants to play, so I think somebody's going to give him a deal. I'm assuming it's not going to be exactly what he was looking for, since it's taken this long to get him signed. But man, aside from just what he brings as a hitter, just a true professional hitter that has one of the best approaches that the game has ever seen, and can still hit a little bit, I think he brings a presence to a locker room that hardly anybody in the game of baseball can bring right now. And I do worry about, look, I know the infield is packed and crowded for the Reds, and it's almost a question of what do you do and how do you do it? I do feel like Joey Votto is going to be missed there this year because of the veteran presence and the energy and the excitement that he brings to a clubhouse. I do worry a bit about the departure of him, and I think he's going to be a fun fit for any team out there.
Yeah, it's funny, the different folks I've spoke to at the Reds who don't really come out publicly and say this, because there was never any plans of doing like a Joey Votto farewell tour, but they were going to be able to kind of, with the season that was anticipated to have a lot of losses, he was going to be the one that they could have relied upon to kind of, as the season went on, everyone got the vibe that, okay, they weren't going to be able to bring him back, but winning almost kind of ruined their Joey Votto plans as far as how to send him off in a little bit more of a ceremonious way. It was a very anticlimactic exit out of Cincinnati, and it may not be done. He may come back, but yeah, it's interesting that them winning ahead of schedule kind of threw off their plans to send him off a little bit more ceremoniously than really a non-announced farewell when he kind of, was able to have the tip of the cap to the Great American Ballpark crowd. It was kind of like everyone knew, but no one knew, but everyone knew at the same time. It was kind of a wild final game for him at GABP.
Yeah, everyone knew, but everyone's also focused on trying to make the playoffs, which is a cool problem to have. Like, of course, you'd rather be able to give him the send off he deserves, and he's a legend in that city and a Hall of Famer in my opinion. But at the end of the day, the team was winning. tried to make the playoffs. It came up just short, and that fell a bit in the back seat. But what a tenure. If it is done, what a tenure in Cincinnati. And I had the pleasure last year of having him on my show, Flipping Bats, and he was one of my favorite guests. He's just a hysterical human, a really, really good guy, and obviously a great baseball player as well.
All right, Ben Verlander, Fox Sports MLB analyst, and you just mentioned it, the Flippin' Bats podcast. You're very active out there. You're very out there in the public eye nonetheless, and really appreciate you coming on and just kind of sharing some time with us here today, Ben. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Of course. Really appreciate you having me.
All right, good stuff. Ben Verlander, again, MLB Fox Sports analyst, awesome enough to give us some time. We're Dayton's radio home of the Cincinnati Reds, and it's very cool to have someone like him at the national level speaking so highly of the Reds, not just talking about them from the perspective of, oh, they're going to win some games this year and they're going to be competitive this year. No, like there is actual expectations. For the first time in over a decade, there are legitimate expectations for this franchise. You can count that 2020 season where when they made a lot of those moves, they went out and got, they got Moustakas, all right, and they get Castellanos, and they add a lot of those guys. There was expectations, but unfortunately COVID kind of really ruined it. I think that could have been a much different season had COVID not happened. I don't think it's a hot take. I think that's just obvious, right? But had that, take that season out, this is the first season in over 10 years that there's actual legitimate expectation and excitement for. And you have a little bit of everything. You have star power from, the rotation, and that bullpen that they strengthened up. Of course, they have depth in the lineup. They have depth in middle infield. People, not a fan of the lack of star power name-wise in the outfield. But my bottom line is I don't care what position you play. Can you hit? Can you put runs up? And can you pitch? That's really what it's going to come down to for the Cincinnati Reds. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. You're listening to the Kinner Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
Winter, with its cold, dry air causing that not-so-nice winter nose feeling. Thankfully, you don't have to wait for warmer weather to clear sinus congestion and send winter nose packing. All you need is Navage Nasal Care. Navage helps soothe the inflamed nasal passages that are often part of colds and infections. It flushes a pure, refreshing saline solution through your sinuses to give you the soothing moisture you need. Navage also sucks out the other irritants trapped in your nose, viruses, dust, bacteria, and germs too. Winter might feel like it drags on forever, but Navage works quickly, helping you breathe more clearly in just 30 seconds. No decongestants required. Navage is a drug-free solution that helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Get Navage today and make winter a little more bearable. Navage is available online at Navage.com or in stores at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal picture of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Whether we're in your home for a new McAfee installation, a scheduled maintenance, or a repair, you can count on McAfee to do what we say we'll do when we say we'll do it. We care about the services we provide and the products we install in your home, tailor-fitting our work to your family's needs through the entire process. We stand behind what we do, and we're proud to put our name on it. Breathe easy, choose McAfee, or have a cow.
People are talking about Carol Works Tire and Auto Service.
Over the last few years, I've purchased 3 sets of tires from Carol Works. Each time, service has been excellent, from answering questions to scheduling and installation. Thanks for the good work.
Carol Works Tire and Auto Service treats every customer like family and every vehicle like their own. It's about the relationship, not the sale. Carol Works Tire and Auto Service. Large or small, they fix them all. Call 937-461-5441 or visit c-wtire.com.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
At the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission, we help veterans and their dependents navigate the process of applying for benefits administered by the VA. We can assist with VA claims, pensions, and a variety of benefits including emergency financial assistance, transportation, and legal services. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, a wide range of services may be available to you, always at no cost to the veteran. We are honored and proud to serve all Miami Valley veterans. Contact us today at 937-225-4801.
For John's 60th birthday, his family planned to drive down Old Route 66. But the trip took a detour when his wife got sick with RSV. It's a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems and hospitalizations.
This year, we don't want to cancel our plans. We're protecting ourselves with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine.
Abrysvo, a vaccine to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. It's not for everyone and may not protect all who receive it. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had an allergic reaction to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may decrease your response. Most common side effects are tiredness, headache, injection site pain, and muscle pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com.
So don't wait. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, because every breath matters.
Did you hear that?
No. What was that?
The clock is ticking to save at the Montgomery County Municipal Court Amnesty event.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. From February 16th to March 1st, the Montgomery County Municipal Courts are offering to waive half of your fines and costs if you agree to pay the other half. Visit either our Eastern Division in Huber Heights or our Western Division in Trotwood to save.
Don't delay. Amnesty is on the way.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits, Submarine House.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your gas light's on. We need to fill up.
Gas around here is too expensive.
Don't drive all over searching for the lowest prices. Just download the free Upside app and get cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying gas? I'm stopping now to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Cash out anytime your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code GIFT for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. That's promo code GIFT.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Ad paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-823-1687. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-823-1687. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-823-1687. That's 800-823-1687. Again, 800-823-1687.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the national championship of college basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal picture of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Have you ever told a friend, "Oh, I'm fine," when you really felt just so overwhelmed? Reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. Text, call, or chat anytime.
All right, and we are back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. So I'm used to driving the bus now. That's what I do. when I started doing the thumbs up. Oh, hey, Kev, just
Need some chicken noodle soup.
Just a 3-man weave, little weave action.
Indeed.
Wait, never mind. Yeah, but But it's the Kinner and Kev Show here on Dayton's ESPN Radio. So I appreciate Ben Verlander for giving us some time. I haven't had him on before, but we got guys like that who are big on the Reds and stuff. I definitely want to touch base with him heading in, but he's super high on the rotation and especially the lineup. And then the Cubs, they make that big move this week. Making a splash doing what they did with Bellinger. But they're paying him $26 a year or something like that for 3 years. Reds fans upset that they, the Reds didn't make a move like that. But I'm like, in baseball, I'm torn on that. I feel like I'd rather get 3 $15 million a year guys than 1 $26 million a year guy. That's kind of where I'm at. When the Reds made that big splash in 2020, when they started making those additions of Moustakas and Castellanos, those were like a 13 and a 15 million a year guy. And Moustakas didn't work out, but the Moustakas that he was, that's who they signed. I know he didn't become that, but the production you got for that 26 mil between those two, I'd take that over 26 mil from one player as far as that goes. And that's the thing, baseball. I mean, how many times have we talked about this? The Washington Nationals, name another sport where you could trade away your best player and go win a championship the very next season. The Nationals move on from Bryce Harper, win a World Series the next year. And, the team that acquired Bryce Harper missed the damn playoffs that year. So it's like that's why I'm I don't get too caught up when the Reds don't go make these big splashy moves. You're a Guardians fan. They're known for, wow, we win despite being bottom 3 in payroll every year. That's fantastic. But at the same time, you're not even asking them to go get a Bellinger. You're not asking them to go get the best player, but go get a couple splash guys. Frankie Montas for the Reds is a huge get because it was a cheap get, and it's a guy that can produce for you. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
When it Major League Baseball with analytics being the thing and all that type of stuff. I mean, you do have to look at it from the numbers perspective, not only salary numbers, even though there's no salary cap in there. You are right. You can get more with the same amount, unless you're getting a Bryce Harper that pays dividends eventually for Philadelphia, because they did ultimately win, a World Series, or a Shohei Ohtani where, obviously he's making money hand over fist, and long after his contract's over with the Dodgers, he's going to be making a ton of money. When you can get a talent like that, the top tier, basically, no doubt about, top 3 players in Major League Baseball, then, obviously from a fan's perspective, you can justify all right, well, shoot, he's worth it, because guess what? he's hitting home runs, he's striking people out, he's Golden Glove. When you have a 5-tool player like that, it makes everything worth it. But when you're talking from the Reds perspective, or even from the Guardians perspective, you start looking at some of these numbers that other guys are getting, and then you look at the comparison to the guy that is on your team, that guy that they're paying that much money, he isn't markedly better than what we got for less.
Yep.
And that's the problem. And I know we had this discussion about that a lot more in football. And my perspective is, especially with the quarterbacks, is and it always comes back to football, right? This whole
football's king, dude.
This whole talk about the Steelers getting Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. I don't think Wilson are that much better than Mason Rudolph. I just don't. I think they have bigger names. At one point in time, Russell Wilson was, an elite level quarterback, but when have we seen a guy burn out twice with 2 different teams and then go to his third team and be like, all right, now I'm back? So for me, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm good. I don't want Russell Wilson. And as much as I love Justin Fields, I don't see a place for the Justin Fields with the Pittsburgh Steelers giving up a 2nd-round pick. I mean, last year's 2nd-round pick was the runner-up for Rookie Defensive Player of the Year in Joey Porter Jr. So it's proven that you can go ahead and get a 2nd-round pick that's going to make an impact. I mean, look at the 2nd-round pick that is for the Cincinnati Bengals, T. Higgins. He just got franchise tag because he's very good at football. So for me, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, let's re-sign Mason Rudolph, have him and Kenny Pickett battle it out in camp, and draft somebody in the 3rd round, because your 1st round and your 2nd-round pick are starters. Don't know how we got from baseball to football, but we just did.
That's because we've been itching to get to football. We didn't even get to the Browns-Bengals stuff today. We'll have to do that, obviously, in tomorrow's show more as far as that goes. But, college basketball-centric show.
Yeah.
What did you started it. You brought them up earlier. So, Tim, Tim's mad at us. Or
Why?
Says Flyers win. They are all the talk when they lose, which is rare these days. I mean, you have a brain, Tim. You see where we're at. Why you think like this isn't that hard? Like it's really not that hard to comprehend. And they beat a crappy team last night. What do you want me to say? They finally beat a crappy team and didn't struggle doing it. Okay, there's your Flyer segment for the day. What do you got? You guys are too much. I mean, that's the thing. All media does in town is drool over that team. And
Don't let it derail you, man. We're having a great show.
But no, it's a great show. Even with this, you started earlier. You were the first one. I didn't even know you did.
They did.
Oh, they play with that arena. They won't play here. Like I just say it. But I've always said this. Every media in town drools over that team. And the one that doesn't, that's what you guys are focused on. You tell me how you don't care about me and the station, all this stuff, but you're obsessed with the station and the talent that you don't care about, not talking about. So just worry about yourselves and worry about your own team. That's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing. All right. We got two great teams in town. Why does it always have to be one or the other? Now I'm guilty of that. So is Kev. He can't say not because he started earlier. But yeah.
Ooh,
but the bottom line is, it's like, no, this doesn't have to be a thing, Tim. You don't have to always make it something that is not. I mean, it is what it is. So. There's that. Let's see. I've missed some of these today. Let's see. Shaw says, I don't know what we were talking. Oh, I guess David Shaw said that's why it was great. That's the difference between college and professional. Keep the court storming and field rushing. Do we take away driving cars anytime there is a car crash? Oh, I know you've had that argument. He was reaching back into his COVID bag of tricks right there. I mean, what are we doing
is
here?
a little bit of stretch in there, Shaw. I mean, it's be one thing to keep it and just be a fan of it because you like the optics and everything like that. Is the fun factor. But dang, the car crashes, goodness gracious.
Ann Anderson says a gazillion years ago when I was in high school, there was a rope extended all around the court with maybe 1 minute left. Security was amped up, and that was it. No storming, no fighting, no issues. Look, bottom line is if that wall of students wants to make its way onto the floor field, they're going to do it. But at least give off the impression, at least pretend that you're trying to stop it as well. But, we have that. If you missed that Tanner Holden interview, we have that coming up for you again, too, and all that. But real quick, that NBA game last night, we talked about this a little bit ago. I know we don't have time to get to the full the association catch-up, but we talked about this earlier. Last night who hit the game winner? Why am I drawing a blank? Strus. Strus hits that game winner. But, before that, Dallas, they score. Don't know who scored the layup. But, whoever scored that layup technically won the game for Dallas. And it was silent in that arena. And not silent oh, they're upset. It was usually you get a gasp or or a collective sigh or something. But none of that. And then all of a sudden Strus gets it. It was a contested what? I think let me look at this.
59-foot three-pointer. So
it was the second longest game-winning shot in NBA history. The second longest game-winning shot in NBA history. So it's wild that this is a stat that's tracked. They don't track charges, but they'll track this. But that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember who was it? Dang, this is so long ago. This was back when Shane Battier was at Duke, and they tracked his charges he picked up for the season, especially during the senior year. But yeah, it was PJ Washington who had a layup to have Dallas take the lead from a pass from Luka, from him penetrating, and Cavs inbound it. And then it was very similar to that play that Villanova won the national championship on, the kickback play.
But Jay Wright, like a boss, just walked away
but from way deeper. It was a quick look ahead and a kickback to Strus for the game winner.
59 feet.
That is far, dude.
59 feet. So half court is what?
I believe that is
50,
40 something, I believe.
Okay. So in the NBA, Max Strus, that was the second longest game-winning buzzer-beating shot in the three-point era, which started in 79-80. The three-point era started at that 79-80 season. So Devontae Graham back in 2021, he has the longest game-winning buzzer-beating three-point shot at 61 feet against Oklahoma City.
Goodness.
Let's see. Muhammad Abdul-Raif, again, 55-footer at the Clippers. Julius Erving back in 1986. And then Tyreek Evans, That was the name too. He had a lot of expectations coming to the league. I mean, he wasn't terrible pro, but again, when you look at the expectations, they really panned out. But Tyreek Evans, he was with the Kings, right?
Yep.
That's what I thought. So he had a 50-footer. But yeah, the 5 longest game-winning buzzer beaters: 61, 59, 55, 53, and 50.
Half court is 47 feet.
Okay. So I mean, that's well past. I mean, yeah, that's
it's 12 more feet, dude. Like that's crazy.
That's wild.
Insane. But I mean, the way these guys shoot nowadays, I mean, you saw the All-Star game. As much as it was no competition out there for, Dame and Steph basically to casually shoot 3-pointers from half court like they're free throws. I mean, the range on these guys nowadays is crazy.
It's the Kinner Kev Show here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're at the Nutter Center today. We've been setting up in the suite all day. We had Tanner Holden on the program earlier. We have that interview coming up for you around the corner if you missed it. We talked about his exit from Ohio State and what motivated him to come back and kind of the process. It wasn't just a simple, hey, I'm coming home, like, the little LeBron return. It was interesting hearing him share the story. Coach Nagy approved, obviously, but said, hey, you need to call Trey. And, Trey, and him had to have a conversation. So it was a cool conversation with him. He even weighed in on the court storm and stuff there at the end. But Trice was fantastic, too.
Awesome.
We ran out of time with him. We ran out of time with Travis Trice. Like, we didn't even get to all this stuff. Forgot that, too, when he transferred to Butler, they beat Indiana. That was a Bob Knight Indiana team. You talk about court storming. That would have been a perfect time to bring that up with him because they stormed the court when they upset Indiana that year. As far as that goes, but that's Butler beating Indiana. Like, that's a big deal, right? Like that. By the way, we talked about earlier. What's worthy of a court storm?
Mm-hmm.
That would be Butler beating Indiana. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Because earlier we were talking about that. Like, not every time you're an underdog means you get to storm the court.
Right.
Like Texas A&M wanted to storm the court last night before Kentucky or Mississippi State. Mississippi State, they had their announcer announce, like, hey, just a reminder, because they were about to beat Kentucky, do not rush the floor. And then Kentucky, the guy hits that shot in the paint to win the game. They didn't have to rush the floor, but they were about to rush the floor. I know it's Kentucky, but you're Mississippi State. You're an SEC school. You don't need to rush the floor for beating Kentucky. And it's not like they're number one. If you beat the number one team, I mean, what are those rules then?
I was going to ask you. So going back to Ohio State football, when Ohio State beat Michigan way back when Trussell was the head coach to punch our ticket, Will Allen had the interception, and we went over to play Miami in the national championship game. Ohio State won that game, just FYI. And the fans rushed the field. Was that cool with you? Even though Michigan wasn't like a powerhouse that season.
I feel like rivalry games are different, right? Oh, see, but no, that's a good point, though. No, I wouldn't have done it for that.
But so obviously, long time ago, and we've had 2 decades of long winning history. Before that game, before that season, Ohio State was a tier above mid. I mean, they would win some games, they would lose games. I mean, the Cooper era, they were constantly losing to Michigan and everything like that. I think that was justified. It was the BCS was new. You knew that, okay, they ran the table undefeated. They're going to play for the national championship. It's not going to be voted on by a committee or sports writers. Ohio State was punching their ticket to the national championship game, and they beat their biggest rival in a good game too. I think that was justified.
So the NCAA tournament's coming up around the corner. That's the most heightened emotional games of the season. No court storming.
Right.
So it can't be done.
Because they got them boys they got them boys around the court.
They don't got
they got them boys with the thing on their hip.
They don't got recently retired.
Exactly. They got them boys with that thing on their hip, and they know better.
So
because it's not like students aren't at that game. They got the Doritos student section that they always pumping up. Like there's tons of students at those games as well, but they know the venues that they can get away with it at, and the venues they don't. When there's lackluster security, older security thing, they know they can go ahead and get away with it.
All right, good stuff. It's the Kinner and Kev Show here on 1410 ESPN Radio. But yeah, if you missed that conversation with Tanner Holden, we have that coming up for you around the corner. What we got going on this week? We got the show tomorrow. We won't be on camera tomorrow. We'll be out. We're doing the show for the studio, but we made that announcement last week. We just weren't on the air, but the partnership with Chatterbox Sports. I'm jacked about that. You see that studio there?
Very nice.
A lot better than why I think we're here. Everything's nicer than what we have over there. Easy now. But Chatterbox, pretty jacked about that partnership. Pretty jacked about that. That'll go into effect on March 25th, just a few days before opening day. But we're adding a local show. They're going to be going as our new lead-in show. Trice and Elliot and those guys, they do a great job. I mean, they have they have Marty and Tom on weekly. So you're going to hear Marty and Tom on the station weekly too. So that's pretty cool as far as that's concerned. I caught them today. So nonetheless, but all right. Well, again, big one tonight, Wright State, Fort Wayne. We're Dayton's radio home of Wright State Raiders basketball. And we'll have that coming up for you later on tonight. 6:45 coverage begins, 7:00 the tip off. And so that's it for us, at least us on camera, because for those who missed it, we got the Tanner Holden interview around the corner as well. Don't go anywhere. It's the Kinner Kev Show, 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast is calling for clear skies and 23 tonight. Sunshine 44 tomorrow. Partly sunny. Chance of rain on Friday and 51. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Frickers tips off the season with a trio of fan favorites. Frickers Street Tacos are back for a limited time. While you enjoy the march to the National Championship of College Basketball on Frickers TVs, you'll savor the flavor of 3 Frickers Street Tacos. Frickin' Chicken Tacos, Grilled Chicken Tacos, and Mississippi Barbecue Tacos are back for a limited time. While your brackets get busted, smash a personal picture of domestic draft for only $6.99. Hurry before time runs out at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Febreze. Fabric Talk. Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in 1 wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Do you have an old sports program, baseball, photo, ticket, or game-used equipment just collecting dust? Sports Investments wants to buy your sports memorabilia. They're also interested in old sports cards and also buying political, aviation, and entertainment items. Bring your collectibles to Sports Investments and get a fair value on the spot. If you decide to sell, they'll pay you immediately. Sports Investments is the largest buyer of memorabilia and cards in the area since 1993. Sports Investments also feature the best selection of autographed memorabilia, sports cards, and other collectible items for sale, including all your favorites like Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Bengals, the Browns, the Big Red Machine, UC, XU, UK, NKU, UD, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, just to name a few. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email adam@sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Have you heard? Bath Creations has moved to their new location and showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton. This gives you even more opportunity to see the incredible amenities and craftsmanship Bath Creation offers. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful, modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or online at mybathcreations.com and get a new bath today. Sometimes change is good. In this case, it's great. A new career is waiting. KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is hiring second shift production associates and offering an incredibly new pay rate of $21.24 per hour. This is an excellent opportunity that includes an attractive benefit package, medical, dental, and 401k. KTH offers the advantage of being a short drive from home, just minutes from Bell Fountain, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. The position will fill quickly, so please apply now at kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
So you just used bug spray in your home. Now what? Well, between the waiting and waiting for things to dry up and keeping your family away from the mess, it hits you. You could have used Zevo. Unlike other bug sprays that stick around, Zevo goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
We are back. It's the Kinner Kev Show live here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number. You could text into the show if you want tickets to tonight's Wright State and Fort Wayne game, 7 o'clock, the tip-off, 6:45. You could catch the pregame right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, of course. And then the big one, the finale against the rival Northern Kentucky, the Norse, coming in on Saturday night. We have tickets for that one as well. Text Raiders to 518-1410. We'll get you hooked up on there as well as far as that's concerned. But we welcome you back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Excited to bring on our next guest, who's been doing double duty this week. I was like, you're kind of getting a hang of this little radio thing because you did the coaches show the other night. But Wright State's Tanner Holden in with this. Tanner, we appreciate your time, especially ahead of the big game tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me on here.
So we look at the calendar. We're like, what the heck is like 2 games left? Like, what the heck is happening? And hopefully many more than that, obviously. But it went by fast for us from a fan and media perspective. But then I'm sure you came back and you felt like you had plenty of time. And all of a sudden, it's down to final 2 games for you. Has it kicked in yet that we only have like 2 games left, at least as far as the regular season goes?
Yeah, I'm trying not to believe it. Being a senior and being an athlete, I think, coming into your freshman year, you think that you have all this time in the world. Yeah. And then as it, dwindles down, you really start to get a grasp of like, oh my God, like it's about over. And actually, being that in a couple of days is senior night, like it's for real. Like there's no turning the clock back, but it's bittersweet. all the experiences I've had here have been good. But it's sad to soon say goodbye. But I think there's a lot more winning to do.
When you came back, this is what you expected, like the season. I guess let me go back to when you decided you were coming back. Like, how did you envision the season going? Because you still had Trey here, was part of the original big three when you were here the last time. From when you announced you were coming back and you envisioned yourself coming back, obviously there was an adjustment period, and it took a little longer than I'm sure you had anticipated. But is this the way you guys are rolling right now? Is this about what you were expecting when you announced you were coming back?
Yeah. I think we had high expectations for us, and I think sometimes that could hurt us because whenever we don't meet those expectations, we feel as if we're failing. But I think it was an adjustment period, for me, going to the NCAA, but just getting acclimated to the guys and back to the university and the coaching staff. But I think, overall, like just our bond off the court was huge. But I think overall, I think we're starting to really catch our stride. And I think, that's how we're playing right now.
Yeah, again, offense hasn't been the problem. Him and I were talking about that a little bit ago.
Never.
And he's like, so been calling the games this year. Like, what is it about this offense? And I'm like, sometimes you have these high-powered offense teams and coaches write books on it, right? Like, hey, it's the Nagy offense, right? But he said the other night, hey, might shock some people. You guys don't really spend a lot of time on your offense or whatever. And like when he says that, like what does he mean by like you're not running offensive drills? You're not
as crazy as it sounds, like before practice we'll come in here, get our shots up. Guys will do their own work at night. But in practice it's mostly defense. We'll probably maybe roughly, if we're lucky, 10 minutes of offense, if that. And that's like
imagine if you guys did 12.
Exactly. That's like, and that's anywhere from like 7 to 8 possessions because we're gonna run a play here and then we're gonna go back and guard their play. So yeah, and that's just how it's always been. But I think the coaching staff does a great job of putting us in good situations. And I think in the summer they teach us the system and teach us how to score, where to score, and the most effective way to score. So I think that helps us a lot. And I think just our field goal percentage this year is a testament to that. But I think it's huge for our coaching staff and for the players coming in, the freedom that he gives you. And I know a lot of coaches don't do that. Like you said, a lot of coaches are pretty pen to paper and they're going to write a play and you're going to do this and they're going to put you where they want you. And not give you that freedom to be a player.
Rewinding back to the first 4 game at UD Arena. We don't even need to get into where you played, but Wright State played on UD's court. Didn't play against the team, but
Oh, come on, Kev. Now, come on now.
That's normally your role.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've made it this far to the show without one of them. But
what do you remember most about that game? I was at the game. I saw you put up the 37. I mean, I saw you going at it with old buddy Peter Kiss. He was doing a lot of talking, but ultimately we got the dub, and you put on the show.
Yeah, the biggest thing I remember is just like fulfilling a lifelong dream to play in the NCAA tournament. And I think at first we were pretty mad to play in the first 4 because you're not officially in the tournament yet. You still have to win a game to get to the first round. So for us that was kind of hard because we know we had to come out there and execute and win to get to the tournament. So I think for us, like we really just went in there and took care of our business. And for me, I really just wanted to play well. And it was my night that night, and I think I contributed in the best way I could. But Trey played amazing. He was sick all day, throwing up before the game and puts up 20. Grant played great. So I think we all contributed really well. So I think that helped all of us just because it gave us a confidence boost to where we could play on that level. National television in the tournament. So
yeah. And then fast forward to this year, like you get to play a little bit of point this year and everything like that. They're putting the ball in your hands to let you make decisions. And past, like, hey man, you were getting it at the mid post, you were cutting, you were dunking on folks. But now talk about being able to be that decision maker.
Yeah, that was kind of my role in high school. I was the point guard in high school. So all credit to my dad. He worked on me and my sister to where we can do everything. Whenever he played at Marshall, he was a post player and that's all he could do. So he wanted me and my sister to be very versatile, to be able to do different things on the courts where we're not one dimensional like he was. So I think, that was a huge testament to him. And that's, I thank him for everything, for all the work that he's helped us with. And I think, the coaches really just put the confidence in me to make plays, not just for myself, but for other people.
Dope.
You said something that caught my attention a little bit ago because it is almost Selection Sunday, not too far off in the distance, and I get in the same argument every year with people about the first four. The first four is not the NCAA tournament. I'm like hell it is because you won your conference championship to get there, Tanner. That was the NCAA tournament, right? But no, it's interesting. So you said you guys weren't bummed, just the NCAA tournament, right? But so you did not feel slighted, but so just go back to that real quick because that's from a business perspective, from a media perspective. I'm like, it's a chance to. I mean, if you're 16. I mean, you kind of know the outcome of the 16 versus 1s. At least you have a chance to win the tournament.
I think the biggest thing is just our competitiveness. Yeah. We want to be in the tournament. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We want to be there. We know we're there. You guys know we're here. But I think that was probably the perfect storm for not just our program, but this entire university to play right down the road in the NCAA tournament and perform the way that we did as a collective group on a national stage.
This season, it's not similar to that tournament season that you guys went on, but kind of. I mean, you guys struggled to start that season. There were so many outside variables that played a role in that slow start, of course, and that's not what's happened this year, but a slow start nonetheless, and you guys start going late, very similar to that year. Are there some parallels to that? I mean, again, Coach Nagy-led teams are kind of known for that, getting better as the season goes on, but you touched on it a little bit ago. You seem to be hitting that stride heading into the biggest time of the season, but it's wild because I'm falling into the trap of looking ahead to next week, and if I'm doing that as a fan and as a media guy, I'm sure the coaches are on you guys to keep your head up for tonight and Saturday. No doubt.
For sure. I think, Coach has done a great job just keeping our minds right. We can't look ahead. We can't look at the standings to see what everybody else is doing, what the possibilities could be for the tournament. I think we're just taking it one day at a time. Every practice, we're working hard. And we control our own destiny at this point. We still have a good shot to win the league. But we can't focus on, everyone else. We have to control our business, take care of ourselves. But I think Coach does a great job of just testing us as men, not just as basketball players. Whenever things are going well, that's whenever, the complacency steps in, and we just got to keep working. So I think that's really the biggest thing is just not to be satisfied. And I think a lot of, there's enough guys on this team who are part of the national or the NCAA tournament to know there's still more work to be done. And we have a chance to do it. And I think, just believing that's the biggest step.
Go ahead. Oh, last thing on this too, just because I was thinking of that, the last time you were here in the tournament, you go to Ohio State, obviously didn't work out there, and you have to make a decision of where you want to go next. You could have picked a lot of different schools. And we've talked about this before. I can't think of another example where a star player at a mid-major school leaves to go to a high-major program and then enters the portal again and then goes back to that original school. I'm not saying it's never happened, but I thought your situation was so unique and so special because of that. And we've talked about that with the coaches about, making sure that foundation is there to make you feel like you were in a space to come back and there was no animosity or anything like that. Obviously you had that trust with the coaching staff. Was that a weird thing? Who picked up that phone? Did you call Coach? Did Coach call you? Walk us through that decision.
Yeah, so the whole portal thing, the second time, I decided to be a no contact. So, no coach could really talk to me from outside. So, my first call was to Sergeant and to Coach Nagy, just to talk to them about, my next step and if I was able. And then, after I got off the phone with them, I called Trey. Not because of, this is his team, obviously. But that's the guy I came in with, and that's the guy I've been working with for years and years. So it's definitely a different situation, just going through the whole portal situation again. And also with the NCAA fight we were in for eligibility. So that was always a rough time. But I think it just it all dials back to being home. This is where so many things have been built for me and for this program. And I'm loved here, not for the player, but as a person. And the coaching staff has done a great job just doing that.
You picked up the phone to call Trey, and Trey, last year, obviously, had you and Grant and were with him the year before, and then he's having to come into a whole situation, no animosity there, right? You picked up the phone, you talked to him. I'm sure he welcomed you back with open arms. What was that call like when you gave him that call?
Yeah, it was tough. I talked to him a couple of times, just throughout the season, but you're busy and all that stuff. I didn't want to get away with their mission as I was on my own. But yeah, it was just a heart to heart, really just talking to him, just asking him hey, if you're okay with it, if you're not, I completely understand. This is your team. This is your last go around. I want you to leave this university as a leader, as a star. And I don't want to take anything away from you. And I don't want it to make it seem like like Tanner's coming back, everything's all fixed. And that was probably like the biggest no for me whenever I came back is, seeing all the articles, seeing everything. Like
I felt trapped to it too. I was like, we're back, baby.
And I think, for me, just as a person, like that's hard just because it takes away from all the work that these guys did last year. It didn't go perfect, no. But the situation I was in, it wasn't perfect at all. Just the season, how it went. So I think, it's just a testament to the coaching staff, to the players that we have here, and just the bond that we've created.
Last thing on this, because he's itching to get to football with you, and I could just see him. And how has that evolved as the season's gone on? Trice's team to start. Still, you don't have to say whose team it is, but I'm sure you guys have had to iron out just the chemistry out on the floor because I'm sure it's not the same as what it was the last time. I mean, one thing I've noticed about you too is as the season has gone on, and maybe I'm off here, but like if a player turns it over and makes a mistake, I'm noticing a lot more from you. You're kind of pulling Brandon over. Brandon's not turning it over. I'm not throwing anyone either. But if Brandon or whoever, like you're kind of pulling them off to the side and kind of just, that's not saying you weren't doing that at the beginning. Maybe I'm just picking up on it now, but I do get that sense from you. And maybe it's just because you see, hey, that, the tunnel, you see light at the end of that tunnel. Do you sense that urgency too?
Yeah, for sure. I think, just being the end of the season, you need guys to play confident. So, I don't think anybody in any game or any sport wants to mess up. And, just me as a person, like I always remember just, some coaches, if you turn it over, they're going to yell at you. And it's like, all right, I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to do that again. And I'm going to play kind of timid. But, for me, I think, some turnovers are just aggression, going to the rim and being aggressive and being confident. So, we'll take that over a scared turnover. But, I think it's just really just enjoying the process, enjoying everything that goes on, good, bad, and different. This is my last go around, so might as well make it as enjoyable as possible.
Football.
Yeah, football. You're good.
Football. Finalist for Mr. Football when you're coming out of high school, man.
Yeah.
You chose hoops over the gridiron. What were some of the schools that were recruiting you to play football?
Yeah, I had a lot.
I know. I read.
Yeah, so
there's one particular school that
I went on a visit to Ohio State. I was supposed to go on a visit to Michigan as well, but our basketball schedule got in the way in football. Yeah, there are a lot of Big Ten schools, a lot of MAC schools, and, some SEC schools, Kentucky. But I couldn't take away from the love that I had for basketball and just all the sacrifices that my family had to make for me to play basketball. AAU, all the years, all the travel, like all the expenses. That was something I couldn't turn away. And I, looking at it like, yeah, football would have been cool to play. But, there are a lot of 5-star guys who don't pan out, who don't get to play at these high major schools. And me, no stars, small Southern Ohio guy, like who knows how that'll work out. But I really just looked at it like, if things don't go right in football, will I still love it? Or will I just, and the reason I really played football in high school is because I loved like the guys who I was around. I loved my teammates. I loved just kind of hanging out with them, competing, at a high school level. Basketball, like I loved everything about it. Like I loved the good, the bad. Like I love figuring things out in basketball. Football is kind of just something I just happen to be good at.
Yeah.
So I think that was really the biggest kind of like thing that kind of took me away from football.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, man. You do what you love instead of
For
doing
sure.
what you have to do, man. I respect it.
Now, and obviously you're going to be an alum. You have 2 Wright State alums here. You go ahead and ask the question. You wanted to ask the question.
I'm going to ask off the air.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll ask
Okay.
about Cimarron off the air.
Okay, fine.
And I'll ask if that's still the kicking spot. You can give me the wink and nod if that's still the kicking spot. I graduated quite some time ago, but back in my day.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. Tanner, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Like I said, doing double duty this week, but you got the media thing down pat, so that's pretty good. But now you got a game to prepare for. Fort Wayne coming up later on tonight. You guys put 100 up on them last time, but they almost put 100 on you guys as well. So just thoughts on this game tonight before you head out.
Yeah, it'll be a big game. I think every game from now on is big. Coach has been harping on that for a long time. They're a good team. Whenever we went to their place, they were undefeated. They were on top of the league. So, I think the intensity and the effort that we went in there with, we have to bring here, just carry some momentum, into Saturday and then into the tournament. We need to start building that up. But I think, the biggest thing is just having confidence and really just taking the fight to them and playing our game at the end of the day.
All right, well, good stuff. Again, 7 o'clock, the tip-off, Wright State, Fort Wayne, 6:45 pregame coverage weekends right here on Dayton's Radio Home of Wright State Basketball, 1410 Wing AM and 101.5 Hank FM. So, Tanner's going to pop out. We're going to talk a little court storming. By the way, court storming as a player's perspective. You thumbs up, thumbs down on court storming. Jay Billis wants guys like arrested and stuff.
I think it's cool, but can't be having people hurt.
Right? Like that's the thing. Like
I think we need to lower the age of our security guards. You can't have 65, 70-year-olds.
Where's my bell?
Thank you.
Yeah. I've seen some security guards. They ain't stopping nobody.
But that was our joke too.
When they were walking
They ain't stopping nobody.
What is going on here? We could just go and grab them if we felt like it.
But
There's way more of us than it is you.
But the yellow rope, you just pull the rope,
Yeah.
right? Like students will listen to the rope. Tanner, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff. It's the Kinner Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We will be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey folks, it's game day and the betting's gonna be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave, but a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right, you gotta pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
People are talking about Carol Wirtz Tire and Auto Service.
We've been taking our cars to Carol Wirtz for several years. Our experience is always outstanding. Every employee truly cares about the safety of your car and making sure you are satisfied. They are trustworthy and treat you like family. Thank you, Carol Wirtz, for always taking care of me and my family and making sure we are safe.
Carol Wirtz Tire and Auto Service treats every vehicle like their own and each customer like family. Call 937-461-5441 or visit c-wtire.com.
Everyone's chasing their 5 minutes of
This
fame.
is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Former USC quarterback Caleb Williams, in his first public comment since declaring for the NFL draft, told ESPN's Pete Thamel he'll be excited if the Bears select him with the first overall pick. Trades the pick and he gets drafted by someone else, he'll be just as excited. Bears GM Ryan Poles has said he wants to make a decision as quickly as possible whether he'll trade Justin Fields or draft a QB. ESPN NFL draft expert Mel Kiper Jr.
To me, it's a tough call for Ryan Poles. If you get blown away by an offer, it's going to be tough not to take it. I get that. Will he be blown away? Will he? If he's not, then obviously you sit there and say, I'm taking Caleb Williams, because if it's a push, in my mind, guys, if it's a push, you draft Caleb Williams, you reset the clock, and you trade Justin Fields.
Mel on Unsportsmanlike. The Dolphins and Vikings 1 and 2 overall, respectively, in the second annual report by the NFLPA that ranks teams according to various categories based on the results of player surveys. The Chiefs ranked 31st, only ahead of the Commanders. NBA Clippers without forward Paul George tonight against the Lakers because of knee soreness. 10 Eastern, ESPN.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
From Studio 2 at the worldwide headquarters of ESPN.
Yep.
And the HD studio in Atlanta, Georgia. This is Freddie and Harry.
Charles in Virginia, my friend, what do you got to say about this?
Harry Douglas.
Uh-oh, talk to me.
Bruh, you from the dirty just like me.
You better believe it.
When somebody tell you to move forward, move forward. Some folks got your food. Some folks got your food in their hands. Move forward. When you go to a fast food restaurant. You on their time. They ain't on yours.
This is Freddie and Harry.
And welcome to the best show on your radio that when we say move forward, you move forward. It's Freddie and Harry with Harry Douglas and Freddie Coleman together, presented by Progressive Insurance on the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80. And always, always, always tell your smart speaker to play ESPN Radio. How did the Kansas City Chiefs get an F when it comes to this in the National Football League? We're going to get to that in about 10 minutes, so keep it here for that. Hit us up on Twitter anytime you want to, Coleman ESPN, and at HDouglas83. The Cowboys have been getting an F for a long time when it comes to winning a championship. At a certain point, they may be closer to 0 than F because they have not won a Super Bowl since 1995. Hey, Cowboys fans, don't look at me in that tone of face. You know I'm not lying. But when it comes to their culture and having a culture problem, Stephen Jones, son of Jerry, as an executive vice president, he's not trying to hear about a bad culture problem when it comes to the Cowboys.
From the organization on down, we feel good about our culture. You always want to be better. I will say that. Our leadership on our